Previously on Let's Fight a Boss.
Do you guys think we're going to go to the midnight launch?
I guess we'll find out.
It's nearly 11 now, and
So we just got to stay up.
1 more hour. I think we could do it.
20% off cases.
Bryan?
I just want
Bryan!
Oh no. We're trapped in GameStop.
Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss cast, episode
45.
45.
Brimful of Asha on the 45.
The greatest song ever written.
That's going to be the end credits.
So, I am sitting here with two of the most athletic people in the Irish podcasting scene. That's probably true, and that's really sad.
Oh, yeah, that is.
To my left, I have master of the tree climbing art. It's Niamh. That's the worst one I've ever done.
Hi everyone.
And to my right, king of the mountain, traveller of the rocky road, it's Bryan.
Rocky Road Cake.
And with you always, I am your host, John. So, right off the bat here, I got a bone to pick. Because we used the song Simple and Clean for the end credits of our last video, right? And those motherfuckers at Square dare region lock our episode. They dare make the Let's Fight a Boss unavailable on one of the 3 platforms it's unavailable on. And all I gotta say is Square, we've been doing this podcasting thing for a little time.
Yeah, we have.
We've been making connections, gaining contacts, gathering information, and we have a dossier of files, of damaging files on every major game company. So...
That's right, Konami.
That's right, Konami. All I can say is Square, you're gonna fucking wish you were Hello Games by the end of all this. And I hope no one was looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. That's all I have to say. Because fucking dead people can't make games. That was too far. I'm sorry. Why don't we roll on into our weeks? So Niamh, you saw Logan.
I did. You saw it too, didn't you?
I also saw Logan.
The greatest film ever made.
The greatest film ever made.
It's the greatest X-Men film ever made.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure it is.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
I was blown away. I cried.
Which bit? A lot of bits?
Yeah, a lot of bits. It's an emotional roller coaster, really.
So I've been doing this thing in the cinema recently where like I'll get like 20 minutes into a movie. And you know the way like in any kind of big actiony movie, 20 minutes in there's always a fucking car chase or just a completely pointless action scene.
Mm-hmm. And
there was one in this, and I just kind of leant over and I went to sleep for 5 minutes and woke up.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious.
What one?
You know, there's like a bit where they get into cars and they're like, oh no, let's get out of here, Logan. And I was just like, no.
Well, in this film, he's a driver, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's a
starts
limo
off
driver.
as a limo driver.
Oh, that was so depressing. Like,
Because it's Wolverine, isn't it?
fucking Wolverine as just a limo driver.
That's like an Uber dude.
Yeah. But Niamh, you're like a big X-Men fan.
Yeah.
How did this film like stack up to you?
It lived up to my Wolverine expectations. Hugh Jackman is such a good Wolverine.
He's done some great work.
He's been Wolverine 17, 18 years now.
Yeah, I think so.
And like he wasn't famous at the start. Like he was just an Australian actor
That's
to
so
begin
crazy
with.
to think about.
But I remember seeing X-Men in the cinema when I was like 11, 12 and being like, that's Wolverine. Although Wolverine's way shorter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Hugh Jackman's like 6'2" and Wolverine's like 5'2".
But that
Little wolf.
he really looked like Wolverine more so than like Cyclops or
Oh god, yeah. He was the best casting from the get-go. Laura Kenny, X-23 in it, Lara. She's amazing.
Fucking brilliant.
That little actress can really like move.
And scream.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
She's only 11.
Really?
Yeah.
She was one of the best things about it, I thought. Like, she was so good.
You know when you watch a kid actor and you're kind of watching them either suck really badly or being pretty good, that you're like, you're a really good child actor. There was never a moment when I was even regarding her acting because she was just so
She was just X23.
good. Yeah, she was just like living the role.
Yeah, and like I think she did like a really amazing job of like being a little girl and coming across as dangerous and scary.
Yeah, she like the whole feral nature of how
Totally,
they were
yeah.
raised like really came across.
Yeah. I definitely burnt out on superhero films with like Avengers 1. And I really enjoyed this. This was a fucking cool film, and I really liked Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yep.
Yes,
You got it right.
he was great. He was really, really good in it.
Because he plays very, very old, like terminally ill Professor X. And he's having seizures in this.
He's like having seizures and like a little bit senile and
Yeah.
But like that if he has a seizure, does he cause
Yeah.
earthquakes and
Yes.
shit?
He's an
Yes.
Omega
Yeah.
level mutant, so like any brain deteriorative disease to like that level mutant, like he has seizures and everyone just
Because how sometimes
brought
there is that thing about people in old folks' home and they're in there to protect themselves because they will hurt themselves because they're not aware anymore. But it's kind of done.
he's hurting people around him like for a giant radius. Like Wolverine has to keep him medicated so he won't just kill people.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really sad. It's a really emotional film.
and
It
all
is.
the other X-Men are gone.
Yeah.
oh yeah, like there's no. I don't think anyone even says the word X-Men.
Does it take place in like 2050 something?
2029.
That's not that far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an alternative timeline. It doesn't
Oh,
line up with
yeah,
any
yeah.
of this. It's totally
How do you
alternative.
I
feel
guess
like
they
it
can time
stacks?
travel.
How do you feel like it stacks up to the comic Old Man Logan?
It's completely different narrative wise. Yeah, like he dies in a complete he dies. It's always to protect Lara, but like she's an adult in the comics. It's, to be honest, it's not the same at all.
No, not even totally. But I think they're both great stories, but they're far enough apart that I wouldn't even compare one and the other. I
Yeah.
think they're both worth experiencing.
Definitely.
And the film is a adult film in that it has a lot of violence. Like
Oh, it's
here,
super violent.
like
Yeah.
here it's 16s. In America, it's rated R, and I think that is based on the feedback from Deadpool, because Deadpool was such a gamble because that was like an over 18s film, and they thought, well, kids only see comic book movies, nobody will go see Deadpool, but fuck it, we'll do like a violent, swear-filled comic book movie,
Yeah.
and it was a box office hit.
And like it is violence, but like it's also just like what I feel like a mature, good story. Like I think it's better because it's about Wolverine, but you could have taken the claws out, and I think this still would have stood up as like a very solid movie.
Like the violence never seems gratuitous. It all seems desperate and sad, and like it seems like it has a weight to it that you don't usually see in superhero movies, but translated really well, and it's believable.
There are no cool fight scenes.
Yeah,
and that's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, they're all just dirty, scrappy
They're all
fights.
just horrible. Oh no, this happened, and now this happened, and like Wolverine goes through the fucking ringer.
He's limping for a lot of that film.
Yeah.
He can't heal anymore, can he?
He kind of can, but it's like I think like wounds around his chest aren't healing very well and stuff. And
Wait, like at this point, he's like 250 years old.
It's like the adamantium in his body is slowly poisoning him.
Oh, yeah.
So his regeneration isn't working to the same degree, so he can die now.
yeah, like it was nearly kind of upsetting in places, but that was its strength. Like it was cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. It's good.
Yeah.
And it's really visually great looking. Like, it's a gorgeous film. And the vehicle design is nice. That limo, like, never have I cared more for a car than Regalia in Final Fantasy 15.
The best character in Final Fantasy 15. So briefly, I just wanted to get back to OJ, the People versus OJ Simpson.
Oh, did you watch that?
Are you watching it?
I've watched it all.
Okay. That's a hell of a fucking time. The only thing I really wanted to say about it was like my favorite thing about it is that like I've like watched documentaries and stuff on like the OJ Simpson trial, and I'm always like, how did he get off? The best thing I can say about this is now I'm like, oh, and it's horrible. Like the stuff they do to like the chief prosecutor in the media and stuff. I just watched the haircut episode.
Oh my god, that's so heartbreaking.
Fucking brutal.
That poor woman.
Yeah, I was worried, like, I know this was kind of from the same people of American Horror Story, and I actually like American Horror Story. It's stupid and trashy and weird, but I like it. But I was kind of worried that this was maybe going to go the kind of same sort of, I guess, kind of light, trashy route, which I felt like it kind of veered close to for one or two bits in the first two episodes, especially anything to do with the Kardashians. Not that I have any problem with the Kardashians, but like...
It's real fast food, junk food moments.
I don't need to see like all the child Kardashians like sitting around a table chanting Kardashians in a film about like, you know, or in a show about like race and all this kind of stuff, you know. But it's excellent. It's really, really cool.
That's Ryan Murphy is the creator of that. So he originally did Popular back in the early 2000s, and then he did Nip Tuck, and then he started doing American Horror Story and Scream Queens.
Did he do Glee?
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh. He also did Glee, which was the big hit.
Because I remember always thinking it was weird that the same guy who did Nip Tuck did Glee.
Yeah.
Man, Glee sure went away.
Yeah.
You don't even hear people nostalgic about it.
Glee ended exactly 2 years ago in March 2015.
Wow.
It was swept under the rug real quietly.
Just before we started the podcast.
That was ended after 3 seasons instead of just how it kept going. I think people would look back on with fondness because it kind of just burnt itself out.
It was a great first episode.
Yeah, the first episode's really good.
Really good.
Don't Stop Believing, everyone.
Don't Stop Believing.
Like, people were like, oh, that's a song from Sopranos, but then it became, that's a song from Glee.
I went back. Me and my parents have been rewatching Sopranos for the last, 5 years. We've just finished it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Fucking love that ending. I understand why people hate that ending.
I hate that ending so much.
I fucking love it.
I think that's going to come up in a question later.
Okay.
But yeah.
Sure, we'll leave it till then. Bryan, you haven't checked out anything this week.
No, but I'm very, very interested to hear about Gone Girl.
Okay. Have you guys seen Gone Girl?
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible movie.
That's based on a book that's a real page turner.
I hate that book. I read the book. It was the worst.
The book is kind of something a mom would read on holidays. It's like trash.
Yeah. So I've had a bunch of people kind of say to me okay, look, I don't want to say too much about Gone Girl, but all I'll say is just you should see it. Goes places you weren't expecting. It's a fucking pile of shit. How are people not saying how bad this movie is?
But it's directed by David Fincher.
I love David Fincher, and you know what? David Fincher establishes his fucking atmosphere like nobody else, and that is true for this movie. Great camera shots, great atmosphere, really cool. But Jesus Christ, guys, okay, look. Ben Affleck. Come on.
I thought Ben was alright in the film.
He's terrible.
I really like
She's really good in it, though.
She's a good actor saying terrible lines.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I like Neil Patrick
bought her
Harris.
the most. I even forgot he was in that.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is in the film.
That's because he shows up like an hour and 45 minutes into it.
Yeah, he shows up in the background out of focus, and you're like, there he is. And then he's got 2 scenes. And then Tyler Perry's in it, who makes the weirdest fucking films, but that's a different story altogether. Who plays the publicist, defense guy, I guess. And then his twin sister is Norma.
I hated her as a character as well. Yeah, maybe I didn't like that film either.
Did you like it?
I feel I found it an enjoyable time. I don't feel good or bad about it.
I prefer Gone Girl to Girl on the Train.
Oh God, yeah. The Girl on the Train is the worst pile of garbage.
Yeah,
I saw that in the cinema. I was so pissed off. It's so bad.
I torrented that film and watched it while I was doing a bunch of other stuff, and I kept going ugh every time I looked over to it.
So yeah, I watched it with Michelle, and in the first 20 minutes, there's a line where the guy in the movie goes up to the girl in the movie, at a party, and they do their little kind of courting thing where it's snappy dialogue back and forth, and me and Michelle just turned to each other and we're both just what the fuck? It's so bad. And this is one of those films 5 stars on Netflix. I'm look, I'm not gonna...
It's a very, very handsome looking film.
It's a good Netflix movie. Say if you're Sunday morning and you put it on then kind of thing.
I'd say it's real good with a hangover.
Yeah,
it's so irritating. And the worst part is, the characters are so unlikable. But the problem, like, I love unlikable characters. I love when, like, you know, people are dicks.
Oh, they're awful
But the
people.
narrative thinks that they're likable. It even like, I don't want to say too much because it does kind of get into spoiler stuff. But later on, it even goes into how one of the characters is like, we were so likable, and it's like, oh really? You fucking trust fund assholes making fun of everyone else at this party just so you can be like, we're gonna get together. This fucking brown-haired guy and blonde-haired girl. That movie can eat shit.
Yeah, I agree with you. The book is even worse because you don't have the actors' faces to be like, okay, I'm trying to empathize with you. It's just, I'm reading about awful people.
I could have done without seeing Ben Affleck's face in that movie.
Is he good in...
No, he's not
anything?
good, and everyone has convinced themselves he's good because he directed a good movie.
The town is pretty okay.
Yeah, the town's good. Yeah. He's directed 3 films. They're all pretty decent.
This is Ben Affleck acting. What? What do you mean? Oh, okay, that's Ben Affleck acting. Where's my fucking Academy Award? I don't know if everyone... It doesn't matter. Like, it's just... Like, fucking cast me as Batman. I can do it. Like...
He's better than Casey.
Who's Casey?
His shitty little rat brother.
I like it. I love it when there's like an actor you don't like and then they have a shitter, weaker sibling.
Oh, like fucking James Franco, and then he has Dave Franco.
Dave Franco's the worst.
He's just like a gone off banana next to like you know, you know, you're at the supermarket and there's only one banana left and you're like, I guess I'll take this one, but then you look underneath and there's even sadder banana. That's Dave Franco.
Oh, Dave Franco, he's so terrible. He's really good in Now You See Me.
What a cock.
Have we ever talked about Now You See Me on this podcast?
The Magician Heist films.
Yep.
I watched a clip of the sequel, which isn't called... so the first was called Now You See Me. And the sequel should be called And Now You Don't.
Yeah.
But it's just called Now You See Me Too. And it's got a different girl in it, except for the rest of the cast. It has a different girl.
One of my favourite part in all of Now You See Me is just everyone's talking and then there's this 5-second shot of Woody Harrelson and he just like flips on a fedora. Just
That's his thing. Because he's a street magician and he needs that hat for his tricks.
I'm a street magician.
So there's a bit in the second movie where they have to like sneak a card out. So it's a magic card, but it has like files on it, and they have to sneak it out of a like Korean like super lab / prison, like just this like pristine white environment with guards with guns.
No.
Okay, maybe
They're
maybe
directed by the guy who directed the Transporter movies.
Okay,
so imagine magicians were cool, and imagine everyone thought magicians were cool. That's the premise.
Like they're not.
I see.
It's the weirdest fucking like.
You know when you're watching The Accountant and you're like, I bet accountants love this film. Is it like when you're watching the Magician movie, you're like, I bet you magicians love this film?
My mum told me a good story actually about magicians in this film.
Oh yeah.
So my mom watches Irish television because people in their 50s and 60s still watch Irish television if they're Irish. But she was saying that there's this shitty Irish magician called Keith Barry. You know that guy?
Yeah.
And so he's like the Darren Brown of Ireland. Like he's not good. He's a load of shite.
I went to see him live and I can't remember anything that happened. I got free tickets. So that shows you
yeah. And
how I feel.
He's had TV3 specials, but that's not something to be proud about. But my mum was telling me that like Keith Barry was on the Late Late Show and he was talking about how he was put on as an advisor on a Hollywood movie about magicians. And I was like, holy shit, that's why the film isn't even good for magicians. Like, because... like,
if that's your reference point.
Yeah.
Like, hacks are involved in every aspect of that film.
But none of the good magicians can take it because they'd have to break the magician's code.
Like, fucking Penn and Teller wouldn't touch that thing. They'd be like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I think one of my favourite things about it is, like, there is the most unreasonable comeuppance for the biggest non-villain I've ever seen in a movie. Like, there's a character in it, and it turns out that character did something that affected the lives of one of the, like, other characters.
Yeah.
And he gets, like, the biggest payback for it ever, and it's so incredibly unwarranted. Is
it a magician-based one? Like, does he get sawed in half, or does he drown in a tank? Like, is
there is sleight of hand elements, okay. And there is sleight of hand elements both for the incident that incited it and his punishments.
Okay.
But it's just like, what the fuck?
I really, really didn't like how that was portrayed, because it was a certain actor who was in a certain film about being a prisoner. No, like I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'll watch those.
Do you know the problem with
they're bad
them, though?
films. You need to watch them.
The problem is, though, that they're like fucking 3 hours long.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so
And it has the most obnoxious soundtrack.
yeah. In the second one anyway, there's a bit where they have to sneak a card out, but it's all 5 of them doing it, and so the card is all in CGI because it's the only way they can get them. So they keep flicking the card to each other, and like so they're all like doing sleight of hand and hiding it up their jacket. And there's a bit where like it goes into first person view of the card going through Jesse Eisenberg's jacket, and it's really, really well lit. Like it's like I was watching it, I was like, this is fucking stupid, but also I can follow the action. This is actually very well directed. Like it's so ridiculous.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, but then it gets to Lizzie Kaplan's character, who is New Girl, and her whole thing is she hides it in her dress, and when the guard comes up to her, she goes because you can't. And there's no cool trick that she does with it.
Her trick is her female sexuality.
It's funny because that was the trick of the other girl from the first film too.
Do you remember in the first movie where they're doing a show and the girl just backflips into a bubble and flies away, and it was like watching anime or something?
No, women can't do that. I have seen that.
But it just came out of nowhere, and you're like, wait, can they do that whenever they want? Is that like a stand ability?
Yeah, because like everything else they're
So
actually
it's-
doing
Joe's
is
gonna
like
do that.
sleight of hand, and that's legit magic.
Yeah.
like one of them is actually a wizard, the rest are magicians.
I think someone breathes fire at one point as well, and it's not like it doesn't mean anything in that film.
Yeah. So listen, I can rag on that movie all day, but I think it's time for us to move into our strategy talk. And this is the video games portion of our podcast, and I guess like there's no point holding back on it because it's the exact thing that we know we've all been curious to play. But so let's just get right into it. Me and Bryan played Galgun Double Peace.
Mm-hmm. I bought this game. I spent my money on it, and I own this game.
How is it worse than you thought it would be, or is it better than what you thought it would be?
It's worse.
Okay.
It's better than what I thought it would be.
I thought it would be.
Okay, I have to okay, what is the definition of better in this sense?
There's more gameplay than I thought there'd be.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's so much less than I thought there'd be. I don't know what I was expecting out of this fucking thing.
Like, I watched a few Let's Plays and I was like, this looks very, very empty. And then I played it and I was like, oh, I actually have to like concentrate because otherwise I'll die in this game.
Yeah. It's
But
like...
what about the Galgun aspect?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Brian, do you want to lay out the basic premise for us?
Okay, it's an on-rails shooter
Mm-hmm.
where you play as a teenage boy whose face you don't see because you're role-playing as him. It's all in first person. You've been struck by a mega Cupid's arrow and you're at school and it's a day in the life and all the girls at school are confessing to you and you have to shoot them with a gun that gives them...
Oh my God. It's so much worse to hear it out loud.
to shoot them with a gun that puts them into an orgasmic state and then they fade away. Meanwhile,
All that sounds fine.
Meanwhile, you're also doing a romance subplot where you pick a girl, and it turns out these two girls are sisters, and they're part of an ancient lineage of demon hunters. Because not only is Cupid about, but so is a demon, and like all these are female characters except for the boy,
Who you never see, right?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Like there are no other boys at the school. There are female staff scattered throughout, but mainly it's teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
The voice acting is something.
Oh my god.
I really, really want to know what that was like when they were recording those voices.
Have you played... Me and Brian played a little bit of it. Have you played much more of it?
I played about 2 or 3 hours. I think I'm about halfway through that game. Like, it's not a big game. The whole
Would you say, like... Because, like, what I saw, and, like, I only saw, like, a tiny little bit. To me, it just seemed, like, just totally empty. Like, just completely empty. Do you think, like...
There are set pieces that kind of vary the gameplay a bit.
Okay.
But they're very few. There's a bit where the girl you're romancing, whichever girl it is, gets stuck in a window and you have to massage her out of the window.
Oh my god.
So you have to like
Has
go
that
to her
never
legs,
hap- has
and you
that
have to
never
like
happened to
calm
you?
her legs, and then you have to shake her, and you're using like the touchpad. Like it's got a lot of like you're like to me this game felt like maybe because this is also a sequel to a 2011 game that's just called Galgun. This is Galgun Double Piece. But I think a very long time ago when this game was being developed, it was developed as an arcade game, and the arcade said no.
Yeah.
And also, arcade games are super expensive to make, and it just ended up getting ported to console, and it's super compromised. This game, yeah,
Do you think you'd recommend it?
no, just watch your Let's Play,
Yeah.
but do check out what, yeah, like it's awful.
It's crazy that it's a thing that exists.
I can't believe it got like localized.
That's
In
the
not
crazy
only
part.
the West, but it got localized in Europe.
Because like this is the most Japanese game I think I have ever seen localized.
Oh, this is for pedophiles masturbating furiously, and the whole idea is that you could play this game with one hand.
Oh, what, really?
Pretty much, like it's not a complicated game to like. Yeah, you could.
Like you'd have to navigate menus at like select intervals, but
Yeah, so this is a game you play with one hand, you got the other hand. You know, you Galgun
okay.
double piece.
I think that's quite enough of that.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to what actually matters. I played Nitroplus Blasters Heroines Infinite Duel.
I also played it.
Yep. And this is a fighting game featuring some of your favorite anime characters like Supersonico, Saber from Fate Zero,
And the rest.
and all the rest of them. I couldn't recognize a single other character on the roster.
Amy.
Few supporting characters like the girl from Psychopaths.
Yeah.
But so this is like in kind
And the
of
girl from School Life, Gakko Garashi.
yeah.
And it's got Amy, the Native American, on the hang glider.
What was she from? No idea.
Nitroplus Blasters.
Nitroplus Blasters, yeah. So it's like a anime fighting game, and like what I liked about it, it was a very like back to basic style fighting game. Like there was kind of like there were very simple kind of commands, and like all the characters had a really set purpose. So within like a few rounds of it, you're like, okay, that's what this character does, and that was kind of fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this game, it was kind of gross in like the worst way anime is gross. Like this like little kung fu girl character you can play as, and I was like, oh, I like martial arts, I'll play as her. And it's like the amount of fucking like panty shots in just her regular moves, and it's like, okay, this is a game for pedophiles, awesome. That really put me off it because it's like it was just gross, but I guess it plays fine.
Yeah. It's not like an Arc System Works game. It's not that polished. It's made by it's the same studio who made the one that has like 52 witches fighting.
Melty Blood?
Arcana Hearts, is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Arcana Hearts was kind of looser and crazier, so I nearly liked that better.
Yeah, for sure.
But
And there was way more variety with the character designs.
yeah. It was fun to play as Supersonico. She has a bunch of cats.
Yeah, is that her attack? I've seen her throw them.
She doesn't actually fight. Her cats fight, and then her band members fight, but she doesn't fight.
She's kind of like a more higher tier complicated character because she's not like Ryu where she's using melee attacks. Like, she's like a strategy character.
And like there's totally Ryus in the game, but she's not one of them. Like you'd really have to, she's kind of like, a lot of it depends on like where her cats are and stuff, and like stuff like that I thought was interesting, and like it looks fine.
Yeah.
Like it's no Guilty Gear, but it looks alright.
The backgrounds don't look that good. And the music is kind of dull.
Yeah, it's a little generic for a fighting game, even though it plays really well.
Yeah.
And then finally we have a little indie game that came out called Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Zelda.
I think we need to talk about the Switch.
Yeah, actually, okay, let's talk about the Switch. So
I can't believe we've talked about Galgun and Sonico before the Switch.
We are 30 minutes into this.
what do you mean?
Yeah, good job, guys.
That's what everyone wanted.
Just getting the stuff, you know.
So we actually ended up going to the midnight launch, and that was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
I'm never doing that again.
Nope.
It was really cold.
It was so cold, and it took so long.
Yeah, I think we arrived pretty early, about 40 minutes before.
Yeah, so it was midnight launch, so we got there at about 20 past 11, and there was a queue of about 30 people ahead of us.
50 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, about 50. I don't think we got our switches until about 1:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like well over an hour waiting in the queue.
And usually what they're meant to do is they scan everyone's purchases in advance, so then you just pick it up and leave. But they didn't do that. Instead, they just had staff going around to the queues going, hey, you get 20% off a case
Yeah.
or headphones, official Switch headphones. Cool.
It was really stressful. It's like every few minutes they were like, here's our detail sheet, and it's like, it's okay, please.
A girl
don't.
tried to sell Niamh's accessories and she got really flustered.
It was so bad. She was just like, do you want to see this page? And like Bryan was like, oh, I know a special girl who wants to see the page. And I was just telling him how stressful I find it to say no. So I just kind of yelled at her, no! But it was more at Bryan.
I was so happy.
I felt really bad.
She just looked really sad and walked away.
I was like, no.
When we finally did get up to the register, this guy is like, oh, do you want a special edition Zelda? And I was like, no thank you. And then he's like, sure. And he walks over and he grabs this giant fucking Zelda box and starts stuffing it in like a bag. And I'm like, no. And I think he was nearly, because I said no so clearly, I think he was merely like, I'm just going to try my hand.
I think he was.
Yeah.
I was next to you because I was being served at the same time. And I heard you say no. And I was even watching him walk with that. And I was like, wait, he said no. I think he was like, I don't know. If that happened to me, I'd be like, well, I guess it's in the bag.
Oh, God, Niamh. Like, that...
That's how they get you.
That's how
I
they get
know.
you.
This is why you have to...
I thought one kind of interesting part of the night is like, remember we were talking to the GameStop staffer afterwards. Like me and Niamh were standing outside, and one of the guys just came out and started talking to us, and like he was fine, but it was like interesting because he was like, you know, we had a lot of stupid decisions from handed down on high, and there's not much we can do about it. And that, like, I thought fair enough. Like, I think if you were a GameStop person working a midnight launch, that's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
And it made me did appreciate it a little bit. And like, I guess they were working with the best they had, you know.
We got some free crap.
Yeah,
we got some nice stuff.
We got Mario Maker badges, and they're pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we got a Lego figure of War Machine.
Yeah, everyone got War Machine.
Everyone's favourite.
Don Cheadle. He's a cool guy.
Yep.
House
Did
of
you
Lies.
guys set the Switch up when you got home?
Yep.
I took it out of the box and I was like, huh. And that was all I did.
I did the day one patch, and I downloaded the demo Snipper Clips because I knew I'd play it the following day at work, which I did. But I was fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
Our buddy Walt was also with us. Walt had a great time.
Big shout out to Walt. Yeah,
Like-
he such a happy little guy, and we were such grumpy assholes.
Me and John were really grumpy, and Bryan was like way too enthusiastic about Wii shovelware.
Yeah.
It tested me.
Yeah.
The way they had us queuing is that we were queuing past the PS3 games, so we were going through all the pre-owned of them. Then it was the 360 games, so I was going through all of them. But then we got to the Wii shovelware section with all the like fake exercise games, and they were real funny to look at. There's so many weird pub party games where it's like Old Man Bullseye game.
Old Man Bullseye, now available for Wii.
Yeah, and these games are like €4 now. And I was like, Niamh, do you want this? And he was like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there was that one game, and we were like, I think we should get that one.
Which one was that again?
It was like a fake girls' toy game where it was just like Bella and her friends, but it just looked super fucked up on the back. Like
we should keep tabs on that for future projects.
Yeah,
for sure.
We all got the black Switch, the regular one. Walt kind of sweetened the deal, and he got the neon one.
Yeah, he was able to sweet talk him.
Yeah,
I actually seeing the neon one in person, I'm like, that actually looks pretty cool.
I have neon Joy-Cons now.
How? What?
I bought an extra set of controllers.
Oh.
In advance of Mario Kart, and I decided to get neon ones because they came with a code for Snipper Clips, like the full game.
Oh, really?
But you know how one is blue and one is red?
Yeah.
It's swapped. So instead of the left one being blue, it's now the right one being blue.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take a photo of my colored Switch next to Walt's colored Switch, and they're gonna be mirror images of each other, even though they're not. It's so weird.
That is weird.
So it's very easy to swap them out so that the Switch is both red Joy-Cons or both blue Joy-Cons. It's I can't wrap my head around it.
How have you guys been getting on with your Switch?
Yeah, good.
It's so hard to judge it because there is only one game, and to kind of talk about the Switch is talking about Zelda as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a Zelda machine.
But like, just as a piece of technology, again, I feel like I need longer with it. I need to try it in the different modes. I've been playing it primarily TV mode.
Yeah.
And
I've played a good bit of it handheld in bed, and I like doing that more than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot for the life of me imagine a use case where you'd use the back hinge. I don't see that, because like the only way I think it could be kind of useful is if like you're hinging it on, you're in bed, you're hinging it maybe on your chest, but it's too flimsy, and so then to be on like a flat surface, you're always going to be too far away to use the hinge. Now maybe there'll be another kind of game that you can use it for that isn't Zelda, but that was one thing I felt like it's not a big enough screen to actually use hinged. But I really like using it handheld. Like I think, and I even like you know, just being like, oh, I'm just going to take this with me because, like, you know, I was heading out the door and then I was like, oh, I'm going to show this to my parents. And I just pulled it out of the console, brought the Joy-Cons, and I could show them. And that was fucking cool. Like, I liked that.
Yeah. I love playing video games in bed. I'm having the fucking best time. I've played way too much.
It makes sense to me now why you have, like, 60 hours logged on Zelda.
I was very, very sick over the weekend. I'm still a bit sick. I have a head cold that won't go away. But yeah, I played a lot of Zelda in bed. It was very, very comfy.
Cool.
How do you feel about the Joy-Cons attached to the centerpiece, like that as a controller?
Bit cramped.
Do you mean like the...
When you slip it onto the...
Not the screen, but the
rail.
Yeah, the rail.
I'm not crazy about the size of the buttons. I find maybe just a little too often I'm hitting buttons I don't want to hit. You know, I think my hands might be like the slightest bit too big for it. I'm not having any problems. Like ergonomically, it doesn't hurt my hands. And like that was one thing about the 3DS. I can only play like 3DS for like 2 hours or something before my hands start getting like sore. So like I think it feels good. I have issues with the buttons, but they're like it's not a deal breaker or anything, but it's like I wish this were different, seeing as I'm going to be playing this for 5 years.
I'm surprised at how much I like it.
Yeah.
I really thought I'd probably get a Pro controller, but it fits my hands perfectly. It's pretty comfortable and it's so soft.
It is very soft.
Like its coating.
I really like the texture on it.
It's nice. I think the thing that has me being like I'm getting a Pro controller is trying to play fighting games on it.
Yeah, okay.
No. I really, really like the sleep mode and how instant it is to continue on a game.
So surprised Nintendo are the ones to have nailed that.
Because I remember the 3DS and the Wii U both went... like, it would struggle.
Like, I'm finding a lot of time, I, like, turn the console on, like, maybe 10 to 15 seconds later, I'm playing the game, you know, and that's fucking nuts. Because, like, with the PS4, you know... You boot it up and you load the game, and like with a game like Final Fantasy 15, you can be waiting like 5 minutes even before that friggin' thing starts. But it's cool and it works well with the handheld stuff as well.
Yeah, it plays when
it's snappy.
Yeah, for sure.
I was surprised at how plasticky the dock was when I took that out of the box when I was unpacking it. I was like, oh, this is not meant to be special at all. No, like that is just like
a lump
iPhone
of disposable
dock.
plastic. That was really surprising.
Yeah, like, it's like the screen is the console, like the dock is just...
And like I had heard that a bunch before playing it, but I never it never hit home with me how true that was. Like if your dock broke, you wouldn't care really. Yeah. Like I mean, you get a new one, but it's not like it's really important.
It's not sophisticated technology.
Yeah.
I think for me when I picked up the Switch and I looked all around it and I saw where you put in the game card and where you turn the volume up and down, turn it on, and I looked in the middle and it had the fan exhaust port. I was like, that's not on an iPad. And then, like, if you are doing like a very, very busy bit in Zelda, if you put your hand on top of it, you can feel like hot air coming out of it.
Really? I haven't done that. Wow.
Like, it needs to have that exact... Like, it's doing some crazy shit in there.
Here's the thing I noticed. The lack of literature in the box, like instructions and manuals.
Yeah, there's none.
It's nothing.
If Nintendo don't have manuals, that's the death knell of manuals.
Yeah.
Like, they're not a thing anymore.
When you open up the box, how to turn on the switch is printed on the side of the box. It's not even the back of the box, it's just the little lip for you to read. So when I got it, I didn't know how to turn it off because it just goes naturally into sleep mode when you press down the power. And I was like, surely it will be in the manual. There's no manual, so...
How do you turn it off?
You have to hold it down for 5 seconds, and then it'll come up like power down mode.
I don't think I've turned off my Wii or my Switch the entire time.
Either, so I've been just putting it in sleep mode.
Sleep mode is very, very good.
Yeah, it is.
The sleep mode doesn't use
like
any
if you were
consumption.
traveling for a day or something, you'd want to put power it down. But like I had to go to the internet to find that out.
God forbid. But overall, like I like the hardware more than I thought I would.
Yeah, same here.
It does not feel cheap.
I'm happy enough playing like with the Joy-Cons separately. Have you guys tried playing with like side on with the Joy-Cons? That's rough.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, for snipper clippers, I think that was not enjoyable.
I've held both Joy-Cons in my hands as if it's like a Wii Mote and a nunchuck.
Yep.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I thought that was alright.
They never fit right in my hands. They're always kind of sliding around in my hands.
I don't think you're alone on that one.
It just doesn't ergonomically like stay in place.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are complaining about, you know how with the Joy-Cons, if you take them out and you're playing them on sideways, you can slide in that extra adapter to kind of raise the buttons on, and it puts a wristband around your wrist.
Yeah.
Those things are a pain in the ass to put on and off.
Yeah,
and you have to be real careful because they have a plus and a minus kind of brailled in, like, so it's kind of like an indent on it.
Yeah.
But if you put a plus facing the minus side, it takes an hour to pull it off, and you're going to damage something.
Even when you get them on right, they're very stiff trying to get them off as well.
You have to use a lot of force, and it's a bit too much force that you think you're going to damage it.
Yeah, you don't feel comfortable doing it, but you're like, I guess I have to.
Yeah, and you have to rest it on your knee because you actually need like 3 points of grip to slide it off because you're pushing a button down, sliding it off, but you also need to hold it in place. So you need to rest it on your knee or rest
I
it on...
haven't touched those things. I don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah, I've like once I got them off, I was just like, well, never doing that again.
Yep.
No, don't. I've seen loads of YouTube videos where people are screaming.
Yeah. But you buy a video game console for the video games, and like we kind of said it, but this is a console for one particular game, and that game is Waku Waku 7. Have you guys played it? And if so, what do you think?
I saw a trailer, it looked cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I've never heard of that.
Moving on to Quicktime Events.
John.
Stop teasing.
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild came out, and we've all been playing it. We played it quite a lot. Guys, how are you feeling about this game?
I've played 60 hours of this game.
Yes, you have.
I'm sick and sad, and it's a good escapist game. I think this game's really, really cool. I'm really relieved it's not a load of shite.
I am very relieved about that. I think, like, you know, I've talked about the previous Zelda games before, but like, I was definitely not a huge Twilight Princess person. I thought that game was fine, as in like, if a bunch of Zelda fans made a game and that's what they'd made, it would have been really impressive. It lacked a lot of the heart of Zelda for me. Like, I think Zelda always should be like, each new game should take a step forward, and it does, from like Link to the Past to Ocarina to Majora's Mask to Wind Waker. There's always an evolution there, and it just was like Twilight Princess felt like such an Ocarina fan game. And then Skyward Sword was like, you know, I've said it before, say it again, I think that is a broken, unimaginative, boring game. And even A Link Between Worlds, I didn't like that game. And like, that game took fucking Game of the Year left, right and center, which is crazy for a handheld game.
I like that game.
I know, like, a lot of people do. I know I'm on the outs with that one. But Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game in like over a decade where I've been like, oh my god, like, yeah, this is why I like Zelda. This is why I think this series is fucking cool.
It's definitely got like a Phantom Pain vibe because it's open world and you can play it whenever style you want, and there's lots of different experiences for some of the set pieces.
Yeah.
I think it's genuinely hard to talk about a lot of the positives of the game because allow me to get emotional. Let me paint a picture for you.
Yeah,
Go for
I
it.
was out walking the dogs and there's just long grass blowing in the wind and the sun was shining and it was just watching two animals kind of do their business. And it was this nice feeling of being in nature that you don't feel when you watch or play anything with nature in it. But when you're kind of opened up into the world of Breath of the Wild, you really, it really has that feeling of being in nature and being outside.
Yeah.
The sound design is really amazing. The lighting design.
Yeah.
I think the shit they've done with the lighting, and I don't even really know what it is because I know there's games that operate on much better hardware than the Switch or the Wii U because this game is practically running off Wii U hardware, not even Switch hardware. But some of the fucking sunsets and vistas, holy shit, it's beautiful.
It really gets that sense across of just being in a wide open space that with loads of possibility to it from the get-go, and that's what's really powerful about it. You start it up and then it's here's the world laid bare to you. Go out and adventure.
I do always feel with a lot of open world games, because I love the concept of open world, but then I always feel you hit a point with open world games where you have a play session where you see the same things. You don't see anything new. And to me, that's usually about the time I stop playing open world games. I haven't really had that with Zelda, and I'm 30 hours in, and it's every hour I see something weird. And sometimes it's something fucking tiny. The other day I saw one of the big moblins pick up a Mokoblin and throw it at me, and I'd never seen that before, and I thought that was cute. But then the other day I was riding around the mountains, and I just saw this massive fucking... By the way, look, the game's been out for a week and a half. We're not gonna people have been crazy about spoilers with this game. We're not gonna spoil any major plot events or late game things, but we are gonna talk openly about the gameplay systems and what we've seen out in the world. So keep that in mind. But I saw this huge fucking dragon, just this giant, massive dragon, just float by, this gargantuan, giant, long thing. And it was this real moment of I don't know what that is. I don't know what's gonna happen if I attack it. I don't know what this moment is so full of potential, and it's really rare that an open world game makes me feel like that.
The next time you see one of those, I highly recommend shooting your arrow at it.
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get something?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. I want to see that.
Really?
It's cool when it happens, the music changes and everything just goes real quiet.
And if you're around NPCs, they all stop and are what the fuck?
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about... Okay, this game is super systems heavy. Do you like them?
I would say for the yeah. I know there's something.
I really think that was a Wii U game with a touch screen, and then now it's a pause system, and you have to there's small things I really wish the cooking was done better.
Batch cooking, so you could cook faster.
Yeah, and even for me, if I go over to the pot, I press A, but that's to sleep and pass time. But you have to go near a pot, then press start, put stuff in your hands.
That's one thing that I am still having a bit of trouble with. The controls are so complicated and so contextual, and in a way I get it. It's like a Metal Gear game where it's every button has 4 context sensitive things, and I understand why, because movement and placing seem so important to that game, but there are some times where I'm no, just take out your fucking bow and change the arrow,
I switched the button layout so that Link's jump is on B and then his run is on X, which is the upper button, so that I can interact, jump and attack all in the lower 3 buttons, and then I can run using the top one. But when I go into the water, jump is now swim faster. But then when I get to surface, I have to switch to dash to jump. It's not 100%.
One of the systems that the one system that kind of does irritate me is the hot and cold.
Yeah.
It just feels maybe a little under-designed.
And it seems more when it first happened, I was this is cool, but it's happening a lot. You have to make potions to survive hot and cold quite a bit in it.
I did find a cool way around it that made me feel so fucking smart.
Go on.
I have ice swords and fire swords.
Mm-hmm.
If you equip a fire sword in the cold, you don't get cold anymore. And if you equip an ice sword in the hot, you don't get hot anymore.
Okay.
And that was one of those things where I was like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I just don't like how much it rains, especially when you're in the middle of climbing a mountain and suddenly it starts raining. You just slide down that mountain.
And then, like, if you're like in the middle of a heavy climbing section, you're just like, well, I guess I'm here now.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes that happens, and you just have to like look how many like minutes you're going to have to wait. Put the system down and just make tea or something.
Yeah.
Until the rain passes.
I like role playing those moments a little, like when it rains, trying to find a little alcove and get a fire going, and try and just burn some apples.
Totally.
I like. Guess it's raining. I guess I'll pause this and do some potions.
I had a really dramatic moment with that actually like really made it. There's these like stone, what are they called? They're
Tantalus,
something like that. The giant ones that pop out of the ground.
Oh yeah.
I was fighting one of them. First time I'd ever fought it, I just swam out into the middle of this like river, and then he just appeared, and I spent like he was just one hit killing me every single time, and I had to like finally I got a read on them because they're not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But then it started raining. And like every time I tried to climb up him, I'd fall down, and it was like, shit, I guess I have to run. But he only had a quarter of his health left, and I'd been fighting him for like 20 minutes at this point, and I was like, no! And it was like this really desperate fight in the rain, and it was awesome.
That's cool.
It was really cool.
Did you meet the small versions of them?
Oh yeah.
You can just pick them up and throw them.
They're so cute.
But you just pick them up and throw them and they die. It's so weird.
I just drop a bomb, run away, and they all scamper over to the bomb and just... How are you guys feeling about the difficulty of it?
Sometimes it's super unfair, especially when you ragdoll. You know how...
Yeah.
Oh, I actually fucking love that. When something strong hits you and you ragdoll off a cliff, I think that's hilarious.
Sometimes I'll get hit by something and I don't take a lot of damage, but Link is just rolling.
Oh yeah.
And that's really, really frustrating, because you're like, that one didn't even hurt me that much, but Link is just fumbling.
I think I like how fucking anime it is that something punches you and you fly like 20 feet.
Yeah.
The battle system, like, it's not very in-depth. Like, it's just... It's very easy to read the attacks and what's happening. It's more like, how long will my weapons hold out nearly sometimes?
Yeah.
Do you guys dodge and parry in it to get all the bonuses?
I actually try and avoid combat a lot of the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do a lot of sneaking around, a lot of like trap laying and stuff. And I don't think I need to, but I just have a lot of fun doing that. Like I like sneaking into moblin camps at night, stealing all their weapons and just replacing it with bombs, and then wake them up and they all run for their weapons and I blow them up. Like, I like doing stuff like that.
You have great patience. I bought like loads of bomb arrows, so I just like to...
They're so expensive.
Yeah, explode the crap out of everyone.
I'm always buying arrows. Arrows are the
Yeah.
most useful thing in that game.
And they're so expensive. I wish the arrow economy was better.
I think if it was, it would kind of unbalance the game because arrows are really powerful.
They're super
Yeah.
powerful.
Do you know what's also really powerful? Throwing weapons.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, like if you throw a weapon, that's gonna knock down most enemies.
Yeah. Especially when like it's almost gone, like just fuck it at them.
How do you feel about the durability? Like, just weapon durability? And
I have like really, really good weapons now that are like level 50, because I've gone to places I shouldn't have gone yet and took a lot of weapons from the stash there.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll get like a dud weapon. But sometimes you need those wooden weapons for when there's thunderstorms.
I feel like the more legendary weapons, I wish they lasted a little longer. Because sometimes I really feel like I'm getting like, a flaming greatsword or something, and it's lasting maybe like 20 hits.
yeah, so when you kind of... Say you've done a big area, you've cleared it out, and you get a sword... At the start of the game, before I kind of realised how brittle everything was, I was like, cool, I've got this awesome sword. Now I'm kind of like, meh, because like it's like, I know I'm only going to get a few strikes with it.
Yeah.
So you never really get attached to any weapon.
Sometimes like you do the mental math of like, I've only got good swords right now.
Yeah.
It's not really, it's kind of a waste going over there and wasting that goblin camp. Which sucks because like, I agree with you that the combat is simple. I think it's a lot of fun as well. Like I like the flurries, I like the kind of dodging, and I like the shield bashes and stuff. I think that stuff's cool. But it's definitely a little out of balance.
There is like a few rare items. There's a certain shield you get in the game, and it's the best shield.
Are they unbreakable?
No.
Oh.
So there is like the ultimate shield, and it's like level is like super high, but it has a finite amount, and that legendary shield will break, and you have to get it again.
I think you have to get them repaired, don't you?
I don't know about this one.
I think I've heard that with those you have to get them repaired, and the repair materials are like rare and expensive.
Okay, and then the legendary sword breaks, but then it has a timer on it, and it will rebuild itself.
Kind of makes you kind of want like something in Skyrim, where you have a house and you gather all your loot and you just dump it in a corner, and you're like, this is my sword room where I just have loads of swords on a bed.
Fuck, if you could like do like I know they wouldn't do that, but like if you could do like a sword room where you could just mount swords, that'd be the coolest shit.
You can kind of do that.
Really?
It's more like a Hall of Fame though.
Sure, okay, I'll take that.
But they have that kind of a mechanic in it.
That's awesome, man.
But that's part of a side quest.
I really loved the enemies in it. I loved the moblins and all the weird, like, the amount of shit those guys can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you try and kill too many with bombs, they will kick the bombs back at you.
It's good AI. It's really
yeah,
good
they're
AI.
Really convincing. And like, do you ever like steal a weapon from a goblin and like they point at you and they get really mad? They're like, you motherfucker.
I've gotten to the point now where I'm enough far in the game that I see very few red moblins, which are like the basic ones, getting a lot of blue, but now I'm getting white ones, and the white ones are super fucking strong.
The brown ones are a pain in the ass for me right now.
Oh yeah.
They're fucking assholes.
I kind of would like a bit more enemy types.
There are like 8 enemies in this game.
Yeah, and they're just different color variations.
Yeah, it's just palette swaps.
Yeah.
Like, they're all really well designed and I really like them, and there's some cool overworld bosses, but like, I don't think it would be amiss to have a few more different types.
Yeah, I'd totally be on board with that. Like, I think the enemies that are there are great, which is, obviously awesome, but I feel like it could definitely do with like a little more variety. But then like, I hate shitty Zelda enemies. Like, I hate like, just like I like the stuff they done with the flying eyeball, and then like it's a you're like, okay, but then do you ever see like the swarm of eyeballs?
Yeah.
And that's really cool. But yeah, they could, and only because like when you see a new enemy, it's so fucking cool. Like, I'll never forget the first time I saw a Minotaur.
Yeah, I love the Minotaurs. They're harder than the dungeon bosses.
What is the trick to them? Like, what is it? Because they're like just want to kill me all the
I
time.
Okay.
I don't want to know.
Okay.
It's pretty funny how you get them.
Okay.
You want to know?
No.
Okay, you can tell me afterwards.
Okay. But yeah, they're harder than more than 50% of the dungeon bosses. Like, some of the dungeon bosses are just, oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Whereas the Minotaurs, like, there's so much strategy to them sometimes.
Yeah, because like I that was the moment, and like, comparisons to Dark Souls are overused and redundant, but that was the moment where I was like, this is actually like I was getting frustrated. This is like a Dark Souls boss, because there was this one Minotaur and I just came at him from every angle. I used every trick I knew. I fucking hit him with all my items, everything. I could barely get him down past half health and he'd one-shot me.
Yeah.
You know what I don't like? How buffs don't stack.
Yeah, it's so annoying, especially when you have like a defense buff. But then I've got so many sneaking buffs and I never use them, even though there's like food attached to them.
That's odd as well, because like I feel like this game is at its strongest when it's like there is a solution to this problem, but there's also 5 other solutions that you can do that are kind of cheeky.
It's like the game tells you to cook a lot and tells you to use buffs a lot, and then I was like, but let me stack them, come on. Like, I really would love if they would let you do that, because like sometimes the buffs aren't good enough to be an answer to a problem.
Or even just like, let them stack to a limit that's not going to break the game, because that's the only reason you wouldn't let them stack. But just like, let your attack stack to like 2.5 and then like don't do it.
Like, I'll do the defense up one, but then I'll get hit by a guardian beam. Still the same effect. Like it didn't do anything.
And there's some bosses that the fairies won't work.
Really?
Yeah, like I was fighting Mogdula or something. He's like a sand seal kind of sand whale out in the desert, and fairies won't revive you when you're fighting him.
Weird.
Yeah, the dungeon will revive you, but
how you guys feeling about the dungeons?
Disappointing.
I'm very disappointed in them.
Yeah.
I really love the shrines. Like, the shrines are the most fun in the game.
Oh, the shrines are incredible. They're really good.
Super fun. So when I got to my first dungeon, I kind of expected it to be like a bigger, more grandiose shrine situation, and it was boring, and I didn't really like it.
I do really like that the maps are in 3D and you have to navigate the map. Like, for me, that's like Metroid Prime, because the maps are the same thing where it's just this like 3D geometric shape that you're navigating.
Yeah. So the dungeon I played, you actually had like controls on the map to move it around.
Yep, that's in all of them.
Which animal was it?
Bird.
Okay, cool.
And it was cool. Like I was like, oh, this is interesting. But I guess, so do all the dungeons take place inside the machines?
Yeah.
Yep, in those beasts.
That's disappointing, because I like when I think back to Ocarina, I think of like how, do you remember how fucking spooky that second forest temple is?
Yeah, that forest temple is amazing music. It's
Yeah.
super atmospheric.
Or like even, I'll talk shit about Skyward Sword all day, but the heaven and earth dungeon thing.
That's a really, really good dungeon.
That's one of the best dungeons in a Zelda game. Like, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't looking for a fire dungeon or a water dungeon or an earth dungeon, but I'd love a haunted house dungeon.
Yeah, like the bottom of the well dungeon.
Yeah, just one where it's like, oh, cool, this is a dungeon, and you're just using this, like, it's a really, really original environment.
One of my favorite dungeons in any Zelda was there's this like side dungeon in Ocarina of Time. And it's just this weird ice dungeon you go to get. I think you get some magic flame or something there.
Yeah.
And the last boss is just a wolf coloured white, but he looks cool and he's bigger than the other wolves. And it was just really atmospheric and had great music. And like, I'd love to see stuff like that in this, because given how atmospheric they've made the overworld, I think they could have done more. Like, they could have done a lot more with the dungeons. But I guess, and like the boss fights as well. The boss fights the one I played was mechanically sound. It was a fun boss fight, but it was just like, there wasn't really anything to the boss. It was just a bit of Ganon magic, and that was kind of it.
The boss and the antagonist in general, Ganon, he's not he's a bad antagonist. I don't give a shit about wanting to fight him. Like, in Ocarina, I wanted to fight him because he was just this guy that kind of like intimidated you as a kid and fucked you over in the time
travel. He had a bit of personality as well, because like he had betrayed the king. Like, when you look through that was kind of cool.
The bit where he's buying out the king. I love Skull Kid and that whole thing, because he's not an antagonist. It's just a misunderstood situation. Yeah. With Majora's Mask, I love Majora's
Wind Waker's Ganon was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah. But the antagonist of this is like fucking Demise and Skyward Sword. It's just, it's nothing.
It's more of a concept embodied.
Demise was the fucking worst.
Demise was like the ultimate concept. You didn't know you were fighting really until
he looks like a giant vinyl toy.
Yeah.
The only time that has ever worked has been Final Fantasy X with like Sin, and that actually just being a giant whale. But that was a concept.
They built up so much about Sin.
Yeah. So it can be done.
How do you feel like this game stacks up? Because like, you play a lot of open worlds. How do you feel this game stacks up to other open worlds?
With the last podcast, I was actually worried that maybe it would be a good open world game by Nintendo standards, since they hadn't done one, and it wouldn't be a good open world game. I think the entire best aspect of this game is its open world. Like, the overworld is the best. Like, that is the most fun, the most beauty, the most stories you'll be thinking about, like, for years. Like, it's one of the best gaming moments happen in their open world. So it's a really great open world. But that kind of then, in stark contrast, mean any kind of story missions I have to do, like any story quests, I'm kind of like, okay.
Whenever I have to do a major story quest, I feel like I'm playing Zelda from 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, look, Niamh, spend the 2 hours doing this, and then you can get back to the other thing. Like, I'm kind of bargaining with myself to get them done.
Yeah.
Like, I've left in the... God, I don't know where, like the lightning dungeon. Yeah. She's waiting for me to take on that boss, and I'm like, oh, I'll be back. I will see you later.
Yeah.
And then I got to the lava place, and I just looked out on this lava with loads of cannons, and I was like, I know how this is going to go, and I don't want to play this right now. So I turned around and went back to the fields and went back to running around.
Yeah, that's totally been my experience.
I think it's perfectly fine to leave all those dungeons until the very end. It's super possible to set up all 4 dungeons, go do as much as you want, and then just like mainline all 4 dungeons in a row.
Yeah.
The one thing I'd say is I did the dungeon up the northwest first.
Mm-hmm.
The item you get from that dungeon is incredibly useful.
Oh yeah.
I think they all are, because I've done 2 other ones. And I'm
really?
like, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Because like the one I'm saying, it's like it's changed the way I travel across the landscape.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, I like if it's good to hear that the other items are that good as well, because this was a total like I was like, it was one of those moments in games where I was like, are you shitting me? Like, you're going to give me this? This is fucking awesome.
The one you get from the southwest dungeon in the desert, it's really, really, really good against enemies.
Oh, I think you showed me that one.
Yeah, it solves a lot of problems because it's got great
Yeah, that's
range.
what this one is. It's a problem solver.
Yeah. You know, you don't have to do those dungeons at all.
Yeah.
But
You
then
fight all the bosses then at the end.
yeah, in a
Yeah.
row.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either.
I've fought 2 of the bosses that I haven't beaten in the dungeons, so I know what they are now. And then I fought the final boss of the game because I went to Hyrule Castle out of curiosity because there's a bunch of side quests you can do in there, and there's a bunch of there are a few side quests you can do in Hyrule Castle, and so I ended up just going up to the boss's room out of curiosity just to see what it's like. That boss is really hard.
The economy is like so weird in the sense that you need to make rupees to buy arrows and to get that shit done. I am having moral difficulties shooting a lot of the wildlife.
It's because you're weak, Niamh.
I know. It's just like, it's fine, Niamh. It's just, you need that raw meat. But then, like, it's a beautiful deer, like, hops into view and it looks at me with its soulless...
I have a boomerang specifically for killing deer. I call it my party starter.
Oh my...
I think if Laura Croft can do it, you know...
Okay. I can do the deer and I can do, like, the giant birds now. Foxes can't.
They give good meat.
I know, but they run in a circle. It's
So,
adorable.
Have you guys rode a bear?
Yeah.
No, I haven't even seen a bear.
You can ride bears.
Oh my god.
There's also these
cool.
big giant razorback rhinoceros boar things. They're pretty fun.
Did you ever try and bring one to a stable?
No.
It's so funny. The guy's like, okay, we'll just get your horse ready. Wait a minute. This isn't a horse. Get out of here.
Do you guys make friends with the dogs at the stables?
Yeah.
How do you, like...
You just give them an apple. You fucking...
Do you know what happens when you give them 3 apples?
What?
They take you to treasure.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
That's what I love about this game. It's like, there's all the, like, if you go watch like 10 things you didn't know you could do in Breath of the Wild, and like, it's just like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
I tied a bunch of balloons to a boat, and then I used a wind leaf, and I just flew across the sea. Now, in fairness, it's not practical. It took me like an hour to do it, and then I flew like maybe 40 meters before my balloons popped. It was awesome.
Or that you could freeze time on a boulder, smash it a whole bunch, then jump on the boulder before time unfreezes, and you go flying on top of the boulder.
I think speedrunners have it down to under an hour now.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think that's
pretty
awesome.
impressive.
Yeah.
And you know how they do that blood moon and all the enemies return?
Mm-hmm.
You know there's a way of getting rid of that.
Yeah.
So that happens at like the strike at midnight. But you know how like at about 11:30 it starts giving you a heads up because there's like red and black particles start appearing and the music kind of fades down. If you teleport to a dungeon, let time pass and then teleport out of the dungeon, it won't have done the blood moon.
I never have enough trouble with the blood moon to do that.
But I'd really like to kill every enemy in the game and see what happens.
Just have an empty world.
But apparently the blood moon is in the game because it's a game-saving mechanic that resets the enemy counter because it's processing too much.
I was wondering why the cutscene plays every time.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothers me. Do you want to know something else about the blood moon? I've heard that if you cook in the blood moon, your food gets special buffs.
Yeah, it does.
It's so weird. I think my favorite thing about the game is like the weird shit that happens in the open world that you're like, that's crazy. Like I was traveling at night along a road and there was like someone else coming down the other way and I went up and spoke to them and they started being real creepy. And do you guys ever hear the Scissors Woman of Japan?
No.
Go on, John. Tell us about her.
So this was during the 70s in Japan, and there was this kid coming home, and he said that there was a woman who approached him in a park, and she had like the Japanese medical mask, not the one they wear when they don't want to catch a cold, and she said, "Do you think I'm beautiful?" And he was like, "I don't know." and she pulled down her mask, and her face was like slit, like Joker style, but
Big
like
Glasgow smile.
big Glasgow smile. And she had a pair of scissors, and she was like, "I'm gonna make you beautiful too." And the little fucker ran off, whatever. And then all these reports from you can look this up. All these reports from Japan came about like this woman appearing all over Japan, like attacking children with scissors, and it became so prominent. It became like such a epidemic. Now I think it was just pure panic, like just hysteria. Yeah, but that they actually had to change, like they had to change the times of schools being let out so that people could like walk their children home. They set up escorts and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm walking along the road, and a woman says dialogue that's really similar to this. Like she's asking, do I think she's beautiful? She has a mask on or whatever. Next thing, she transforms into a ninja, and we start fighting. And the ninjas are really hard. But before any of that can happen, a bolt of lightning leaps out of the sky and strikes her sword, knocking me flying and killing her. And it was just like, it all happened in the space of about 5 seconds. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? You know, and like I had to go back and piece together, okay, there was a lightning storm and she was carrying a metal sword. So, okay, I get it now. And it's like, that is going to stick with me so much more than like the kind of lackluster boss I fought. I can't even tell you what the boss I fought looked like, you know? So I think this game is definitely about the open world. Yeah,
for sure. The ninja invasions, I've had too many of those now.
Yes, I imagine they get a little boring.
They happen every 20 minutes now.
Oh.
I don't know what's happening. I think it's because I keep exploring. I don't know.
Yeah.
They only happen to me along roads.
It happens to me everywhere now. I'll just be on top of a mountain and one will just appear.
Seriously? That's such a pain.
And one time the blood moon happened to be twice in one night. Like I played the cutscene twice.
That happened to me as well.
I was like, what the fuck? But I really like this game. Like, it's just these are all tiny things.
Oh, like they're all relevant. I mean, like I fucking love the shit out of this game. I think this game is incredible. It's not perfect. We're gonna get a little more into that one of the news stories later.
Yeah.
But like overall, yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this game, and I'm really looking forward to playing more. I hope it sticks to landing. I hope we get a really climactic, good boss fight in the style of Wind Waker or Ocarina. It would be such a sour no, because I think, you know, there is a good history with Ganon boss fights.
Yeah.
I don't think it would even be sour, because I think it's actually the exact opposite with this game. I think the start of this game is going to be always better than the end, because that's the moment when it's full of possibility. And that possibility really feels real. And I think the more I kind of discover the world, the kind of more mechanics start to annoy me, or I don't want to deal with lava, or like, you know, more of that starts to get in the way.
Yeah, I guess with me, I always hit that in open world games about 2 or 3 hours in. I'm 30 hours into this one, and it's slowly happening, but for the most part, I'm still kind of fascinated by the world and the things I can discover I can do.
It's happened for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are 60 hours.
Yeah, I am. You know the way the first 2 or 3 hours, there's no rupees or anything, and it's just survival.
Yeah.
Like that bit was really, really cool. Actually, one thing that really kind of caught me off guard is I've done 2 shrines that have had this, but there's no keys in this game.
There are.
Oh, there are,
there's
yeah, in some of the shrines, but as a general note, there's no keys outside of a few occasional moments in the shrines. But like keys in dungeons was such a big thing in Zelda games, and it's not in this anymore. It's just using mechanics.
I don't really miss them, I don't think.
No. Because it was always an easy way.
I thought it was a really weird moment when I was like 5 hours into the game and I got rupees for the first time, and I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
That was weird. How are you guys feeling about the game overall?
Positive. I think it's kind of a special experience in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think you messaged us saying like the first night you were playing it about like how this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is why I like video games.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. It's like, oh shit, this is like, for me it's very much like this is what it's like to be just fucking like really enraptured to play a game, being like, I want to go back to that world, and I haven't had that for a while, you know?
Yeah, like I think the last time I really felt it was like stuff with Dark Souls 3 and Metal Gear. It was kind of, this is so video gamey in a way that's familiar.
I'd nearly say Dark Souls, because like Dark Souls, your first Dark Souls is always your first Dark Souls. So for me it was like Dark Souls 1, Metal Gear, we'd have to go deep into the past.
That doesn't mean it's perfect or it does all the things it wants to do perfectly. It's trying something that I really appreciate and works on a lot of levels. And
like, I am very interested. Like, I think it's super interesting how they have come to this from previous Zeldas. Like, I think that's a fascinating conversation to have, because in a lot of ways it feels like very much that they were going down one road and they've completely U-turned and gone down another, which is good, because I really felt like Skyward Sword was a continuation of Twilight Princess, and I thought that was a bad direction for the series.
I don't know if in terms of like narrative wise, I kind of, while I'm playing this, and it's like, I think the worst thing about it is its narrative, and I hate its voice acting. I think it's really bad. But it's kind of I'm kind of looking at it as separate from its narrative a lot of the time, just because the overworld is so good. And then I'm looking something at like Horizon, and I haven't got that yet, but it's kind of, the narrative is so part of its open world. Like, it's so one big thing. And it's like two different types of games and two types of different open world that I appreciate in their own right. But I think if I was to skew towards one, I would prefer something like Witcher, like Horizon, and I'm going to pick that up because of that, where the narrative really explains to me why I'm in there. Like, to me, this Zelda's kind of like Skyrim or Minecraft, where it's me making my own fun, and that's awesome. I love that. But I do prefer narratives.
I think
driven stuff.
There is like a kind of a big disconnect there, because like you are heading towards the castle to, well, like you're doing all this shit to help Zelda, and so, you know, if you were actually Link, you wouldn't be going around like fucking up all the moblins. You wouldn't be like, you know, getting involved in like all the kind of villagers stuff, or just
you probably want
dicking
to get
around
there as fast as you can.
Yeah, and so, and like that's like, it's kind of it's a very different game, but it's like the Mass Effect 3 problem I had, where it's like, why am I in this bar? Like, the world's about to fucking end. So yeah, it would be interesting to have a stronger like narrative that drove Link around the world better and gave you more reasons to do other stuff.
Yeah, none of you have been doing side quests, have you?
I did one or two, and I was like, eh.
It just gives you rupees.
Yeah, it gives you the same stuff you'll find out in the world.
Yeah.
I do think, like, there's parts about the lore of the world I really like. I think the facts that the Guardians fucked everything up and now they're all like lying around broken and dead, but then one occasionally chases you. I like that stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And like some of the flavor texts with the NPCs has made me laugh once or twice.
I really like the NPCs in this game. They're better than most NPCs. I've just met some very, very charming people.
Yeah, I've got a bit of dialogue that I'm like, oh wow, that was like funny and snappy.
It's all like overworld stuff. It seems so separate from the narrative, even when Link kind of goes into like his flashback and the story is kind of told through flashbacks and stuff. Yeah. You really do feel separate, and I can see why it is that way for the type of gameplay. But I don't know if it would make me be like, I want to play more of something like this. I like this game for this.
Yeah.
And I think
this game has actually,
you know,
I feel like this game has made me understand better why people like open world games. And I think I would really like to get my hands on more open world games later this year, because like I know Witcher isn't for me because I hate how it feels. Like I hate playing that game. But like, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn seems awesome, and I think I would love to give that a proper shot by the end of the year. So yeah, I think that's Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, the greatest video game ever made.
The greatest video game ever made. And I just want to say, if you don't agree, then fuck you.
Yeah.
Niamh, what do you got to say to people who are wrong?
I mean, we're going to DOS you. Like, that's the only...
We've done it once before.
My dad knows someone, and he's going to slash your fucking tires.
Yep.
Your bicycle tires. Fuck.
You're going to be fucking dead in a ditch right next to Square Enix. Sweet Jesus. I just want to get in there real quick. If you own a Switch and you are only playing Zelda, Waku Waku 7 and King of Fighters 98 are both out, and they are both like £7, and they're really fun special fighting games. You will probably need a Pro Controller to get the most out of them, but Waku Waku 7 is this really fucking colourful, cartoony, really weird fighting game. The last boss is a giant smiling sphere called Fernando. It's got a Joseph Joestar ripoff in there. He has like a whip and a hat, and he uses Hamon, and it's really stupid. And King of Fighters 97 is like, or 98 is one of the best King of Fighters games. It's so cool, and it has one of my all-time favorite King of Fighters characters, Heavy D.
Oh,
who's
shit.
just this fucking tough-ass black dude who's really good at boxing, but he's also very stoic and serious. Those games are a lot of fun. Ports aren't great, but like they're £7 and they're both like absolute classics. And as far as I know, you can't get Waku Waku 7 on anything else. So if you like anime or like weird character designs, that is a really great one to check out.
Yeah, I think everyone should give the Snipper Clips demo a go.
Oh, Snipper Clips, yeah. Brian,
Yeah.
you played a bit of Snipper Clips.
Yeah,
We all did.
I really like that game.
Yeah.
I think that game is charming. I think it's like the perfect eShop digital game.
I would never describe disharmony in my relationship until I played that game. Like, we were really mad. Like, I was like, oh, come on, rotate it. Like, it brought out the worst in me. I did not like that game. It was frustrating.
Me and Michelle play like a few kind of co-op games, and so we're a little used to it. But there was a few moments where I was like, would you fucking...
Oh, also, I played 1-2 Switch.
Oh, yeah, okay.
How's that?
It's not good.
Game of the year. Oh.
No. I think that game would have been way better if they made it like a WarioWare game and just made it like super like goofy. But instead what you get is you get like a Benetton ad. Where,
Oh my god, yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you get like a mixed race couple, but they're wearing like pastel pink clothes in a pastel pink room, and it's like this weird, like it is like Benetton ads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know my favourite thing about WarioWare games? Wario.
Yeah.
Just how fucking... Have you ever played them, Niamh?
Yeah.
They're fucking crazy.
I love how just... There's such a unique brand of strange.
Yeah.
I've only played the like DS ones.
I don't think I've played that one. The Wii one is really weird.
Oh, yeah. But, so, it'll show a couple, so it'll be like a guy and a girl who look different to each other. Sometimes it's like a big fat guy, and it's a skinny woman. And they'll be playing like the cow milking game, and one of them loses, and it's the big fat guy, and he's like, oh, you got me. But there's no dialogue, it's all done pantomime-y.
Wait, so...
And they have to play these...
You're not playing as these characters.
No, but you have to watch these videos the first time you play these games.
But they represent what's happening on screen. Like, you say if...
And it's them
you
having
get
like...
shot.
It's them having a great time and acting it out. Like, they really, really encourage you to, like fucking, like, be goofy. But I kind of wish, like, the game itself was goofy.
It sounds like I would hate that.
Yes. It really, really reminded me of Now You See Me. Like, just that personality.
So you think those guys, like, in the console are going to, like, finish playing up their game of Switch and then go see Now You See Me 3?
Oh, yeah. It's that kind of, like...
Now You See Me 3 _ Now You See Me.
It's someone who, like, loves the new girl and has season 4 on DVD and watches it.
That's
Like,
so specific.
I know, it
What
is.
show is that again?
The Zooey Deschanel TV show where she's like, I live
That fucking thing.
with 3 guys, and one guy, we keep saying his name all the time.
Yeah.
The new girl.
And that is everything we played, so why don't we move into our Quicktime Events? So I think we should probably get away from the Switch, because we've talked about that plenty, with a shit ton of news about the Nintendo Switch. Niamh, why don't you take the first one here?
So the Switch launch happened, and I guess the first thing was a whole pile of people had a load of issues with their Switches.
Yeah, there was a video floating around that had got like 13 million views, and it was like just all these broken ass Switches.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a rundown of everything that could possibly be wrong with your Switch. The left Joy-Con connectivity problems. System crashes, blue screen and or orange screen. Unreasonably loud noises. Dead pixels, overheating, Wi-Fi signal issues, Joy-Con wrist straps getting stuck, screen flickering, and bent dock scratching the screen itself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the rundown of what people are experiencing. I don't know how widely spread these are.
Very difficult to say at this early stage.
This is the first batch of hardware, and every launch of any piece of hardware ever has duds.
Oh, totally.
Like the iPhone every year that comes out in like September, every year 1% of iPhones are duds.
Yeah.
When I got the Wii U, I got a dud Wii U and I had to return it and get a replacement. Like it was very easy to solve. But it was kind of frustrating because I had installed the day one patch and set it up in advance for Christmas. Then 2 days later, it packed up, and I had to get a new one, and I had to redo all of that. And it was just it sucked.
I think like a lot of people have been defending it and saying like, look, it's a launch just like any other launch, and like with that, I actually agree. Like shit goes wrong with launches. I think far less easy to argue for has been Nintendo's response to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's been really disappointing. Sounds to me, borderline on the old legal issues there.
Yeah, it's really dismissive or something.
Yeah.
It's
It's
kind
against
of like,
consumer
well, you bought
rights.
it. Yeah.
Especially the dead pixel thing, where they're like, oh no, 1 dead pixel's okay. No, it's fucking not.
No, that should be
Like maybe
100%.
if you've had your console for 2 years.
It's crazy because just with dead pixels specifically, like this console is a screen. It's a 6.5 inch screen. That is the entirety of the console. Like if you're having a dead pixel on a 52 inch TV, you're kind of like, you won't really see that. That's going to blend in. But this is a handheld screen. It's not cool to kind of suggest that you should be okay with that after dropping that amount of money.
Yeah.
Has your Switch like frozen on you or anything?
Yeah, I had one crash.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Me too. And I had to hold down the power off for 10 seconds and soft reset it.
I haven't had any crashes, but there has been now 3 instances of the left Joy-Con issue where Link has just veered off, or it's like I'm pressing things and nothing is happening on the screen, and I have to readjust the way I'm sitting and kind of get directly in line with the console.
The
the gamepad. I was playing it in TV mode.
Yeah.
And he was just like, it's only ever happened in that mode. It's never happened when I was playing handheld mode. Just completely with the controller set up.
That kind of lends itself to the idea that it's like a obstruction problem.
There was a good teardown that explained what's wrong with it. It's the Spawn Wave Media on YouTube did a teardown, and the right Joy-Con has a standalone physical Bluetooth dongle in it. The left one, the Bluetooth antenna is printed onto the circuit board and is directly behind the trigger and next to the metal casing for the analog stick. So it's not going to be as strong, and it's in a position where your fingers and hand cover it the most. So I think it's just bad placement kind of
sounds
thing.
like it. I tried to recreate it briefly and I couldn't. I might try to give that another go because I'm really curious to how that works and how much of an issue that's going to be. Because if that's going to be the kind of thing where like the material wears down over time, that fucking sucks.
I've watched videos where people are opening up their left Joy-Cons and like adding in extra antennae to make the signal perfect. But if they do that, they're breaking their warranty on their console.
Yeah. That sucks as well because it's like you're trying to fix it, but by fixing it, you're breaking warranty.
Yeah.
I've also kind of had the dodgy Wi-Fi, like it's dropping connection. I don't know why.
For me, I need to be super close to the router.
Exactly.
And then I get like a really, really, really good signal, and it downloads stuff like instantly.
Yeah, it actually does download super fast.
But the range on the Wi-Fi is very, very limited. It's like 5 meters. It's really it's not wide at all. Then about the vinyl stickers.
Yeah.
So I'm someone who pre-ordered vinyl stickers off a guy from Etsy, and this guy, I've used him before. He's really good. I have vinyl stickers on my 3DS, and I have so I had these ones pre-ordered to make it look like a Game & Watch. But then it came out that a vinyl sticker company called D-Brand, who had full access to the Joy-Cons about 2 months beforehand to make their vinyl stickers, said that the material that they were using in their stickers was eroding the material on the Joy-Cons, because the Joy-Cons have a certain kind of texture to them. So it's got a coating on top of that, but it was cracking that coating and wearing it down.
It was just pulling it right off.
Yeah. And I thought it was pretty cool that D-Brand put that out, and they said, do not buy our products. Like, we are recalling them.
They refunded everyone who pre-ordered it. And then there was another group of guys called Slick Wraps, and they tested up to 80 different adhesives, and it was the same thing. It was still just peeling off whatever special coating they have, and they also
Weird.
refunded everyone's pre-orders.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks for those guys. Fair play to them for refunding.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be some person who doesn't care on Etsy or whatever selling them, but
totally.
don't put vinyl wraps on your Switch.
The guy that I have on Etsy, he, if he just before the Switch came out, he put that notice up, and he's also doing stickers for the dock, and the dock is fine. Mm-hmm. But he says the stickers for the Joy-Cons on the side, he's going to test some stuff out, but he's not going to sell them unless he's happy.
I'm going to move us along here. We'll get to the last. We'll leave the Jim Sterling thing to the last.
Yeah.
But new Overwatch character hits. This pissed me off so much because this happened like the day after our last podcast.
Oh yeah, and
like
the timing.
There's nothing we can do about that because we're bi-weekly. But god damn it, sometimes it's so annoying. But looks cool. I don't know a whole lot about how she plays, but she seems awesome.
So this is Orisa. She's a centaur robot character who Efi created.
Yeah.
She looks cool. She's going to be out on March 22nd.
What kind of character is she?
21st. She's a tank.
Tank?
Yeah. She throws out a shield.
Is she fast? She's got 4 legs, so she should be pretty fast.
She can do a thing where, say Reinhardt's hammer will knock everyone down.
Yeah.
Oh, she could brace herself down.
Yeah, she can run through that
cool.
and doesn't get knocked down. So she's her centaurness is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like her skins as well. She's cool looking.
Yeah, I need to go check her out.
It's good that there's a second robot. Maybe they compare the robots.
There's 3 robots.
Zenyatta,
Bastion, and Orisa.
Yeah. Is Zenyatta like a full robot? I thought it was just a cyborg.
It's hard to really figure out the deal with the Overwatch robot situations because the whole thing is about robots becoming sentient, and then there was this war where they're for recognition of that. But then there's Bastion, who's a turret, and you're like, does he have the same level of sentience as Zenyatta? Does Orisa, who was created as a child, have the same level?
Didn't you see the Bastion short, Niamh?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
The bird.
He's scarred from war.
But does Bastion get the same rights as Zenyatta?
Niamh, what are you trying to say?
It's just their own narrative with are robots a created thing, or have they AI or not? Is falling
this
apart.
Is literally the most offensive shit I've ever heard.
How about Bastion actually has a human brain inside him, but the brain isn't actually a man's brain, it's a woman's brain.
Is that Genji?
Yeah, everybody robots, it doesn't matter.
I didn't even know there were robots in that game, Niamh. That's how blind I am to that kind of stuff. I don't take that into account. I just see people for kind of who they really are.
John just sees people as shapes.
Yeah.
He's a sociopath like that.
Yeah, I am. Everyone's just
bags of meat with confetti inside.
Yeah, that's it. You fucking gotta get it out. Niamh, let's move on to Destiny 2 and transferring its character over.
Yay.
You can.
Can you?
Yeah, you can't keep any of your weapons or anything else, but your character...
Now, are weapons not the thing you level up?
Yeah, well, no, you spend all your time and your entire goal is to get these weapons, so they don't carry over, but your character does. Who you could feasibly remake anyway.
That to
the
me,
only game you ever need to play.
That to me is like being able to take
here's a wallet, but you can't take the money in the wallet.
Say it's like you're going into the afterlife and you're talking to whatever divine presence is there, and then you're like, can I take my shoes? And he's like, yeah, you can, but not your body or your consciousness. And you're like, oh, that's what that sounds like to me.
They're nice shoes.
It's a weird call, but also makes perfect sense because the entire gameplay loop of Destiny is grinding.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to rebalance the entire game.
I'm excited for Destiny 2. That's gonna be a day one pickup.
It's shocking. I don't think people were around for the dark times when Niamh used to play Destiny.
Niamh and her heroin addiction.
Niamh and her heroin, and every week she'd come back and just be like, I played more Destiny. I hate that game. But I got a really cool new weapon. That was a really good Niamh impression, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was good.
It's 2 Niamhs in the room.
But I'm excited to hear people talk about Destiny 2. I think there's a dark universe where I get it, because it's just at this point it's such a strange thing to me. I kind of just want to know. But we'll see. And then the final story is more Nintendo Switch news, and Jim Sterling, that motherfucker, had the gall to give Breath of the Wild a disgusting 7 out of 10. How outraged are you guys by this? Should we DDoS him again?
I think we should DDoS him 2 more times.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it should be 10
shit.
out of 10, so he should get it should happen 3 times for the 3 numbers he took away from the 10.
Yeah, definitely.
It should be a perfect 10, my friend.
Yeah, and like honestly, like I don't know how he's not. I don't know how he's outraged at all. I think like he deserves this and a lot worse.
I tried to read the actual review, but the website was down like every time.
Yeah.
Poor Jim.
I love Breath of the Wild. I really like that game. Come the fuck on. Like, if you are so weak-willed and pathetic in your own opinions that someone else saying that they like the game but not that much hurts you, like, what are you?
You know, the great like irony I see in this is like we talk about like say with Gamergate, and it was this idea of honesty and integrity in games journalism. But then a game journalist gives an honest opinion about their experience with the game, and it's like, you absolute shit. You did this to try and destroy Nintendo. And
like the whole thing about
didn't cater to their manifesto.
Like, oh no, now it's not the tied second highest game on Metacritic anymore. Who fucking cares? Why do you care about Metacritic? Like, what? Like, do you honestly think that Metacritic of all things has any merit at all? Like, do we know what's the highest game on Metacritic?
Ocarina of Time.
That's shit. Ocarina of Time's really good, but
I think second is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
It's pretty awesome.
That game came out in 2000 and it did super fucking well, and the reviews hold up.
Yeah.
Well, they probably don't now, but like, you know, or you know,
that was totally a cultural thing.
They are of its time.
But like, I mean, God, I couldn't imagine caring anything less than about Metacritic. Like, you might as well go on to my anime list and see like the like what's the top rated anime and base your opinion off that.
And isn't it just really boring when everyone is just like outright, this is perfect, like agreeing 100%? Don't we want to live in a world where critics can have dissenting opinions on media and you can read them?
But like, I always feel like the point of like the thing that makes contemporary criticism great as opposed to like years gone by is this thing where you have this one person and you understand their tastes, you follow them, you listen to them in podcasts, you read their articles, and you're like, okay, I get what kind of games this person likes, you know? And then if that person recommends you a game you like, you're like, okay, cool, I think there's a pretty good chance I'm gonna like this. But as like validation for your own opinion, it's pathetic. Like, really pathetic.
It's like, and nothing is objectively perfect. If we had the objectively perfect game, that's boring. Yeah. That's like, we always should be striving to make things better, and nothing's going to be objectively perfect to one person as it is to the other. Like, that's where taste and interest comes in. It's like, does it really bother you that one person thought like, and it's not that he thought it was bad. He gave it a 7. And what's wrong with 7?
I understand like the things he pointed out at it, they're all things where I'm like, yeah, if that annoyed you, that would really annoy you. Like, you know, if you have a problem with the weapon durability in Zelda, then, oh boy, that is going to take away from your enjoyment. No, I don't. I actually like the weapon durability. I like having to scramble for weapons and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be like, no, you're fucking wrong if someone has an issue with it, because they just have an issue with it. They're not trying to make a grand point, you know?
Do you think it was that game development studio that he's been fighting with? Do you think they did it?
No, I unfortunately I think people are stupider than that.
I think it'd just be real funny if that was like, we're not doing games anymore. We're ruining Jim Sterling's website. Yeah. I can't remember the name of them.
Digital Homicide.
Digital Homicide.
Great bunch of lads.
That's such a cool name.
Yeah, I think like at the end of the day, people need to remember that like reviews are just pointless, and like there's no objective metric with it, except with your friends at the Let's Fight a Boss cast, who you should review 5 tunes on iStars. We'd really appreciate it, guys. 5 tunes on iStars. There we go. There's the dyslexia kicking right back in.
I think people know you have dyslexia.
That's fine. I don't mind.
I think it's part of your charm, and it's why people leave comments on your videos.
Oh, I love it when people do that.
Yeah. Thanks, Professor.
So with that, let's say we move into some emails. Bryan, why don't you kick us off there?
Okay, I'm going to answer 2 emails because one's a quick one. This first one is from Conrad, and he wants to know in episode 36.
Okay, hang on, wait. This is gross. Okay, this is really gross. So skip forward. Like, Bryan, I'm giving you a minute to do this. If you don't want to hear something,
2 minutes.
Oh.
3 minutes actually.
Okay.
It's not actually gross.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I won't say what it is. All right, Conrad, my friend, in episode 36, I described something as the gush, and I wouldn't go into what the gush was. Conrad just wants to know about the gush and says, P.S. Keep up the great work. Love the podcast. Thanks, Conrad. Okay, Conrad. The gush. All right. Chris Morris is a comedian, a satirist, and he's done. But once upon a time, he did an experimental sketch show. He's a British comedian. He did an experimental sketch show called Jam, and it's a Channel 4 show. And you know, it's stuff like This House Has People in It, and unedited footage of a bear. Like, this guy did that like back in the early 2000s, late 90s. I highly recommend checking out everything he's made. Jam is a sketch show he made, and The Gush is from one of those sketches. But Jam isn't the best thing he's made. I think Brass Eye is the best thing he's made. Do you guys ever watch Brass Eye?
Brilliant. So good. Episode on paedophilia is the best.
The Pedophile Epidemic. That episode is so old. That aired like in 2001. Like that's a very long time ago. I really, really like his film 4 Lions as well. That's a fantastic film.
Bryan, tell us about The Gush.
Okay. Skip ahead 1 minute if you don't know what The Gush is. The Gush is from a sketch from Jam where a porn star started ejaculating.
This is exactly what I thought it was.
And he wouldn't stop ejaculating, and he wasted away. But he didn't waste away right away. It took him like a couple weeks, and everyone had to like be around him in bed because like he couldn't move, and he was just like coming the whole time, and he was miserable.
Bryan, in what world isn't that disgusting?
I don't know. It was kind of funny when it was funny. It was a really, really funny sketch because, yeah, no, it was good stuff. I just think when you're 15, you see that as funny.
Conrad,
you
had no idea.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
I hope you're...
Oh, actually, but then one time a friend in college told another friend about The Gush, and that friend thought The Gush was real and told a bunch of people about The Gush.
That wasn't me.
No, it was none of us at this table, but we know there's mutual people, and I don't want to name names.
Yeah.
But someone believed The Gush was real. That it just won't stop.
We got a message coming in from Julian. Hello, lovely Irish people. Love the show. Makes life easier. I don't know if this is the right place to ask a question, but this email account is only ever sends boring work-related items, so I want to treat it. Question. Rain hit my window, make me cry. That said, what video game or other media has made you cry profoundly? Adore the show, guys. Keep it up. And he also says that the Spider Wolf guy, he doesn't think the Spider Wolf guy is a dirt baby.
That's nice of him.
Who's that person?
So I'll go first. I think like there's been like 1 or 2 video games that got me like really emotional. It's like pretty rare one will make me cry, but the one exception to that was the end of Mother 3.
Yeah.
Really fucking tore me to pieces. Like for a bunch of reasons. There's like, you know, real kind of narrative reasons it does, but like it gets really existential and weird, and
that game is harrowing.
Yeah, and like I think I beat that game the year after I had finished college, and like I didn't really know what I was going to do for like a job, and I was like still living with my parents, and like it was one of those times where you're like, oh fuck, I don't know what comes next. And then there's like this like really sad, upsetting sequence that's kind of like to do with like a family breaking apart, and there's like then all like the characters, I don't want to say too much, but like all the characters start like talking to you, the player, Like, there's a bit where you enter your name in the game earlier on, like your real life name, not the name of your avatar, and nothing happens with it for the whole game, and then they turn around and go, oh, and John, everything's going to be okay. And it was just like, it was such a weird, powerful experience, and it happened at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and that did actually get me like super emotional, and I produced some tears.
It's real tough if you go back and play the game again, and the party that you name in that RPG is your family. So you're naming the first son Lucas, his twin brother Klaus, and then you're naming the dad Flint. But it's just little sprite animations of a family. But then they bring in the mother, and the mother obviously doesn't want to be there, and so they're tugging her by the arms, and she's like, no. And they're like, no, come on, and you name her. And it really feels like a family. It's awful.
Yeah, it's that is, like, to this day, one of my favorite. Like, when we were talking about Breath of the Wild, I said, like, it's my favorite Nintendo game in 10 years, and it totally is. But as much as I'm enjoying Breath of the Wild, like, you know, Mother 3 came out like 10 years ago, and it's still like, just, I don't know if I'll ever play a game that'll get me that much again.
It's a very, very sad game.
Yeah.
When I got to the end of Final Fantasy X,
I fucking knew it'd be this bullshit!
I cried throughout the entire credits.
Tears
that
for
game.
you now.
I was just like, it just kept going.
I knew it was going to be
that
Final
was
Fantasy
a great
10.
story with an emotional ending.
How old were you?
None
16?
of those things are true.
Well, yeah, when it first came out, so I guess, yeah, probably 16, 17, I was totally primed to cry.
That's so cute.
But I think I would cry again. Like,
I think you should go look up some YouTube cutscenes.
I don't cry a lot, but I cry a lot during media. I get like totally swept up with the drama and cry. Like, I cried at Logan.
Do you cry at the end of Survivor?
Yeah, when people do well, I cry.
Honestly, I understand that more. Some of those Survivor eliminations, like, they're an emotional roller coaster.
They are.
It's like if they get music like to swell in the right moment, I'm just like, ah! You know? Like, I'm totally primed for that shit. There was even like Kung Fu Panda. Nothing really sad happens in that, but because the turtle just makes me cry as a character, just him shaking, it's me very emotional. And there was a scene in the second one where the bird's feathers gets wet, and I cried just because of the beauty of the rendering of the feathers.
You know, I really like Secret Life of Pets, but that's because I really, really want a pet. So that just got me in a very, very vulnerable state about fucking pets and how important pets are.
Stuff with animals in it will make me cry a lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, make a sad documentary about a dog if you want to see me cry.
Mm-hmm.
The saddest dog.
But games, like, usually I'm crying for like their technical achievements and not for anything sad that's happening.
Yeah, like I always cry at the end of a Donkey Kong game because those games are really hard.
Oh, like, that's like really beautiful. I really like this. God, and I probably cried recently at something. The Americans. That TV show.
It got you.
Yeah, they were having a stressful day. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Do you know when you're like a kid?
I think your life's falling apart.
But you know when you're very, very young and there's like a stressful bit. Like for me, like Dumbo really, really like got to me when I was younger because it's just a complete misunderstanding about Mrs. Dumbo or Mrs. Jumbo like attacking everyone because they're teasing Dumbo and the kids are pulling at his ears. And then they lock her away,
really sad.
And it says "Danger, Wild Elephant," and it's awful.
Oh fuck! You know, a bit from near towards the end got me. There is a sacrifice. It's good. Did I ever tell the story about Up on this podcast?
No.
I'll make it quick. Me and a friend went to see Up, and she like cried multiple times through that film. And then afterwards she was like, did you, how many times did you cry? And I was like, 0. He was like, bullshit, 0. And I was like, 0, I didn't cry. It was sad, but it was fine. And then that Christmas I'm sitting with my parents and I'm like, you know, we should watch Up. And then there's the bit where the girl's running up the hill and she falls, you know that bit?
Yeah.
And just fucking tears start streaming down. and I'm like, what the fuck? And like my dad's looking at me and he's like, are you crying? And I was like, no. I was like, why is this happening now? Why did it not happen before?
The opening of Up is really sad.
Niamh, you got an email?
Hello, I'm looking forward to buying Nier Automata. I'm sorry for pronouncing that so wrong, the entire Blast podcast,
Me too.
by the way,
Yeah.
Everyone.
It's
But
fine.
it might take a while since video games here in Brazil are insanely expensive. So managed to get Nier for the PS3 when I discovered it was related to Drakengard, which I've never played because I was a Nintendo fanboy and would only buy a non-Nintendo console in 2011, which was the PS3. I tried to read about the lore and looked up videos explaining it all, but it's so confusing and involves a lot of different media, and I'm about to give up. Since you've all played the first one, how damaging it is for the experience not to know the entire lore? And how do you generally handle games with a lot of sequels or prequels and spin-offs like Kingdom Hearts? Do you play them all, or is it fine by you to just read about the previous entries on the internet? Thanks for the amazing podcast and for making me not want to die on workout sessions. Hugs, kisses, dragon hybrid humans, and sodium chloride exploding goddesses. That's so nice.
That's so...
Wow.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are.
And that's from Lewis.
Wow.
That's a great question. Really good question.
Okay.
You do not need to play Drakengard to play Nier.
I'm going to take that further and I think say that in general, just fucking dive into a series wherever excites you the most.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, people think, like, oh, you know, I'll miss out on all this context. Yeah, you won't understand the story. But if you like the series enough, you'll want to go back and play the other things. Just fucking dive right in. It doesn't matter. And, like, spoilers don't really matter that much either. Just, like, if you see something you like and you're like, I like the vibe of that, just go for it. Like, it's fine.
I don't think there's a lot of games, like even sequels and prequels, where you can't just pick them up and play them. Like most are really designed for that. I think it's mostly, I guess, books that really have direct sequels.
Yes.
Yeah, like for me, I've always wanted to like get into Terry Pratchett, but you can't
Yeah.
because you need to start.
That's a hard like barrier.
It's a very, very tricky one. But then we both so Niamh and I both played Dark Souls 3, but we hadn't played Dark Souls 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. But we watched Vati videos on it and got up to date with the lore. And plus, enough of it is ambiguous anyway.
I think if the story isn't good enough to be held up on its own, like I'd say, like having contextual lore is an extra spice.
I think
You know?
lore will only matter to you if you're already a fan.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I do is I'll regularly just fucking pick, like, if an anime is like 100 episodes long, I'll just jump into episode 54 just because I want to see what the anime actually is and not like the weird intro story the first couple episodes are going to try and paint. And it's always a really good metric to know if I'm going to like a show or not.
I always usually prefer season 2s of things as well, because season 1 everyone has to get with their bullshit and fight with each other, and then season 2 they're working as a team to achieve something together, and I always prefer that narrative.
Season 2 is going to be a much better indicator of season 5 than season 1 will.
Yeah.
Especially
so I don't bother with that.
Especially for superhero movies. Like I hate origin fucking superhero movies.
Jesus.
I love the second.
I just
movies.
think we need one more Spider-Man origin story.
No, how about one more Batman with like fucking,
Yeah, there's a few details I'm still a little foggy on.
Did Batman's parents really die?
I don't know.
Did Uncle Ben really die?
No.
With Nier specifically, like playing through Drakengard, I played through the 3 of them. I don't know what happened in Drakengard. Like I could not tell you. Like
Niamh, it's the greatest story ever told.
giant babies were birthed, floated down, and I had to take them all out. Like that doesn't come into Nier in any way. Like the universes are connected kind of tangentially, as in the creator has decided these both these things exist in the same universe, but the characters and the narrative aren't really related at all. Like they're not. So
Yeah.
like it really doesn't matter.
And as far as I can tell, like Nier takes place like tens of thousands of years after Drakengard. I think Nier Automata takes place a similar length of time after Nier. So I don't think you're not gonna lose it in it. Just jump into stuff. Just see what atmosphere you like. See what characters you like. Like you really, I mean, most of the way I discovered like Yu Yu Hakusho. It's one of my favorite anime ever. I discovered that like downloading it completely out of order off LimeWire because they were the only episodes on LimeWire, and I watched the whole thing out of order. Loved it. Went back and watched it all in order. Loved it even more. It was like you can totally just dive into stuff. I think people should not be so sensitive about lore, and they shouldn't be so sensitive about spoilers either.
Yeah, I think lore is just the fun thing that you can get into after you've already decided you like the series.
100%.
Yeah, it's like an Easter egg.
Yeah, and like it's really fun then going back and piecing together all the lore.
And you'll have more context for doing it, so it'll be easier and more enjoyable, really.
Yeah.
Like, reading a scrap about how Drakengard connects to Nier will mean way more to you after you've finished the game of Nier than it will beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Kingdom Hearts, I don't know where to begin with that one.
That's a mess. That's just like Square like dicking around.
I don't think Kingdom Hearts would make sense to me if I played it through in order.
Yeah, like this, like
And that's actually what makes
the narrative is bad. Like, it's not a lore thing.
I kind of want to pick up Kingdom Hearts 3, not look up anything else, and just be like, okay, let's go.
Oh, Mickey's in this.
What the fuck? Donald Duck.
Goofy?
Bryan.
Alright, this is my actual email. This is from Peter. And he says, hello from me, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm a 17, soon to be 18-year-old man from Norway. I recently found your podcast through John the Dirt Baby's great videos. I found your guys' podcast to be extremely entertaining and funny, and I love every minute of listening to it. Anyway, okay, so he's got 3 questions, and the second question is a big one.
Okay.
All right.
Let's leave the second question to last then.
All right. So the first question is, what is your favorite manga comic of all time? For me, it's One Piece. Death Note.
Yeah, John.
I like Death Note. What's wrong with Death Note?
So John likes Death Note.
No, that's not my favorite. I just like it.
And then Niamh likes The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
Done.
Killing Note's a good manga.
Next question.
My favorite is Ghost in the Shell and Evangelion.
Off the top of my head right now, I sure do like Akuno Hana.
Oh yeah.
I like that whole bunch. After that, Berserk's real good. The manga Berserk is just phenomenal.
How about like Arkham Asylum, the comic?
Yeah, that's my favorite manga.
That's fucking dark.
Yeah.
Don't like Dave McKean.
The Phoenix Saga of X-Men is...
That's a good manga.
That's a good manga.
Yeah, it's a good manga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fucking nuts.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else? A lot of the manga I read is like fucking trash. Like, I read so much trash manga.
Well, Calvin and Hobbes, bro.
What's one that you're reading right now that you really like? Wow, it is.
One
It's
Piece.
trash.
Okay. There's a very special manga
Prison
called
School.
Danburu no Waito, I think it's called. And it's just about a bunch of girls and they just go to the gym and get in shape. And that's all.
Thrilling narrative.
I've been under so much stress recently. It's just my... Oh wait, we're going to edit this part out, right?
How big are they?
It doesn't matter.
No, like how big is their determination to get strong?
Pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Let's move on to the next question.
All right. Then the other question before the last one is, there's an anime airing this season called Aka 13 Ku Kansatsuka. I really want your guys' opinion.
Beautiful.
But we haven't seen it, but I did look it up, and it's based on a manga by Natsume Ono, and she's a really, really good mangaka.
Is this the blonde-haired police person?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's super stylized.
I've watched the first episode of this. Unfortunately, I find the style super off-putting. I hate how the characters look.
They probably look better in the manga. It's a very hard style to translate.
I have been recommended it a bunch of times, but yeah, I totally bounced off the first episode.
Maybe you got to watch 2 more, John.
If enough people recommend it to me.
Maybe you should do it while you should watch.
I can't. I don't know why people should watch it. That's how those work.
You know what, Peter? Maybe you should do it while you should watch.
It's fucking copyrighted. You do that, I'll come right after you.
You're like after a lot of people in this episode.
I know. I'm fiery today.
Yeah.
I think John...
Peter,
John,
that's not true at all. You make whatever kind of video you want.
I like Peter. Peter's my best
Peter's
friend.
cool. Yeah, he's good.
Hey, Peter.
I'm enjoying him.
All right, and then this is Peter's question, which I really like, is what show, game, whatever, I love whatever, do you absolutely love that everyone else hates?
Okay, I got one for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
School days. Do you know?
School Days?
Wait. Yeah.
School Days is the dating sim one with the
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is regarded as one of the worst anime of all time.
Because it's a real patience buster.
I don't know. I've never actually watched a reasoning why people hate that
But
anime.
you know what, the way it was me who recommended you School Days, and you were like, Bryan, this is a trap.
Yeah, I watched 4 episodes of it and I was like, this is fucking terrible. This is really bad. But then it started getting all weird and twisted and started being like a weird commentary on dating sims and
then the ending is a payoff.
yeah, and like I had a fucking blast with that.
But see, sometimes for me, I'll recommend John something, but it's like a trick.
No, Brian,
So
you,
one time-
you think The Proposal is a good movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That wasn't a trick.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
God, why did I do this podcast?
Yeah, I like The Proposal. It's got a bit where Sandra Bullock and Betty White are rapping in a forest.
That's the literal... no, whatever. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So The Proposal is a film that John doesn't like, but everyone else loves. I guess that's the opposite of what we're going for. I really, really like Bicentennial Man, and people are like, "Why'd you like that?" It's a really, really beautiful film about Robin Williams being a robot who wants to be human.
That is a beautiful film.
Yeah, but some people think that's a controversial opinion.
You know what I watched recently that no one likes, but I thought was really good? Oh, wait, okay. Jupiter Ascending.
That film's okay.
I love that movie.
It's not the Wazowski's best, but it's in their middle.
But I watched another one they did, Speed Racer.
Yeah.
I also love that movie.
Speed Racer's class.
That's
Speed
good.
Racer has merit, absolutely.
That's a really aesthetically pleasing film for what they're doing with it.
I actually watched that with someone who described it as the worst movie ever, and he was like, "Come on, let's go watch it. It'll be fun." And so then we went back and watched it, and he was like, "That was actually pretty good."
Yeah.
No, the Speed Racer it's really, really inventive, especially when
Yeah,
it's
it's really
transitions.
Yeah, it's so cool.
What's the other film they made with the German director who made Run Lola Run? That's like loads of different stories and like
Cloud Atlas.
I don't like Cloud Atlas.
No, that's really bad. The makeup's awful and it's pretty racist and weird.
It feels like a 3-hour long Mighty Boosh sketch. Like it's got old Greg in it. It's not good.
I hope we're thinking of the right film.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I really want to see what they do next. They're both women now.
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, they're
fair
both
play.
transitioned.
And I think that's really, really funny because the other way there's those guys who are like red pill man, and like
I never thought about that.
and it's based on the Matrix, but the Matrix is written by 2 transgender women. Like, get over your fucking ideas, man.
I think when it comes to games, I really like Final Fantasy X2. A lot of people hate that game.
That's a fucking solid Final Fantasy game.
It really is. Like, people are like, "Oh, I hate dress spheres." It's just the job system, guy. Get over it.
There's a bunch of cool girls, and you get to dress them in a bunch of cool outfits. I don't see the problem.
It's like, it's Bravely Default. Same system. It's all okay.
Well, actually, Bravely Default was a job system, and it's entirely different.
I'm trying to
And
think
I just like Yuna's personal growth, how she went from being like a summoner and being kind of like soft-spoken and scared to being like, fuck it, I'm a pop star. And I was like, yeah, good for you, Yuna. Like, good job. It was a nice time. What else do I like that everyone likes?
I'm trying to think of stuff that like people are just like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I have that with some movies. There's some movies I'm like, oh, that was a laugh, and people are like, fucking terrible movie.
See, maybe one of us loves No Man's Sky and we don't realise it.
Oh man, I would love at this late in the game, one of us played No Man's Sky. It was like, guys, it's incredible.
The game's like a tenner now.
I'll bet.
I don't ever want to play that game.
No, it's bad for you.
And then we got 2 pieces of art from our beautiful loyal listener base.
I'll be tweeting these out
Yep.
during the week.
The first one is from Edgar, and it is about me being a dirt baby. Thanks, Edgar. And the other one is from Phoenix, and it's also about me being a dirt baby.
I think
I am so nice! Why are people mean to me?
I think it's because you're the YouTube famous one and we're just like 2 regular guys, but we can take you down a peg. So
But I'm like the nicest person, and I'm so nice to both of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You keep threatening Square Enix.
They know what they did.
What? Gave Yuna a good character development? I don't know.
But
Seem alright to me.
Yeah, no, these were both great, and like they really got like, it's good that they can make me laugh, because otherwise I'd be so fucking pissed.
Yeah. Let's keep the dirt baby thing going, or maybe not.
No.
I think we got to come up with a new meme right now, because I don't want this being
Right now.
So, John, Could you pitch us the meme that you pitched me before?
It's like Ubisoft levels of
Yeah, pitch us a meme.
No, Bryan,
John,
you can't pitch a meme, and we're not doing this.
No, John,
no,
please.
no,
No, but you know the meme that you made up.
Bryan, no, I'm not saying that on air.
Okay, I'll say it.
No, Bryan, no, we're not doing
You
this.
can't make up a meme. The meme
You can't
has
pitch,
to,
yeah, the meme just has to happen.
Yeah.
What are you, Aisha Tyler?
Yeah.
Are you like a marketing company?
Maybe someone could send in an email asking what's John's meme. You can cut this out if you want, don't worry.
Niamh, you're going to be busy this podcast.
I'm not cutting out anything.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think that about does it. So we're going to move. Oh, if you want to email us at askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Yes, that's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Askletsfightaboss@gmail.com. We do absolutely love getting emails. Sorry if we don't have time to read out every one of them, but we do read every one of them, guaranteed. But yeah, we would love to hear more questions. And we're going to move on to our loot drop segments.
Sorry, no, I
Okay, I will go first, and I want to point to a web series that's kind of cropped up. Well, it's not cropped up, it's been around for a while, but it's called OKKO, and this is a series of 10 short mini episodes where the premise is it's like what if life was like an old school fighting game / beat 'em up, things like Final Fight and Street Fighter Alpha, and the art style, it's interesting because the art style kind of varies with the different directors, but one of my favorites is called Enid's Bad Day, and it's just about like a girl who works in a shop and she has a bad day, and it is one of the most beautiful art styles I've seen for a short in a while. I'm going to loot drop it. I'm going to be talking about it in a video soon as well, but really, really recommend this. It's a really cool series, a lot of great characters. I really like his mom. You seen his mom?
Yeah.
She's a tough fighter woman.
You know who makes it, don't you?
Yeah.
Ian Jones-Cordy.
Yeah, and he did a lot of shit on Steven Universe. He was a director, storyboard artist.
He's Rebecca Sugar's boyfriend.
Trying to not boil him down to his relationship role, but sure.
And he's famous for saying, I didn't attend CalArts, because people keep assuming he attended CalArts.
Really?
Yeah. That's like his thing at San Diego Comic Con. He's like, I did not attend CalArts.
He seems really cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I've followed him on YouTube for years. Like he's been around for a long time. He's made loads of cool YouTube shorts.
Really?
Yeah. I should link you his YouTube channel that has like very few views.
Really?
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
I'll blow it out.
He also voices one of the characters in Bravest Warriors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know which one.
Yeah. You can guess.
Yeah.
My loot drop is, I'll link it. It is the making of Breath of the Wild. They put it out today or this week.
Those fucking concept sketches, Link on the motorbike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of worrying that they even like they were like, oh yeah, draw that. Like, no, don't
Well,
draw
I
that.
kind of see that as like there was an intern in.
Yeah.
The concept drawings aren't that good. Like I you know how you see like 3D animation films and you see like these crazy what ifs and just these amazing illustrations, but these are just kind of like just technically fine drawings.
Yeah. What if we give him jeans? It's like
Yeah.
where it
So
went.
bad.
But the thing I find interesting about these videos is they talk a lot about the sound design, which I really appreciate because the sound is the best part of that game, I think.
Do you play with headphones at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's
I
super
only did that
immersive.
for the first time last night, and that was the first night I appreciated the sound. You don't really get that from TV mode as much.
I did it a bit over the weekend and it was really fun. But Nintendo are usually very, very top secret and elusive about their process, so it's cool to see them be very open about how they made this game.
Very much so.
And what possibilities could have been.
So glad we didn't get that motorbike, Link. Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
You think it'd be cool?
No, but
Niamh, what do you got?
I don't have anything, so I'll probably find a K-pop video or something
yeah,
to send you guys.
the one you linked in our chat.
Oh yeah, it's a real summertime song. Maybe I'll play that at the end.
No, you're playing Brimful of Ash on the 45.
We'll see.
I hate that song.
Oh, so guys, I think that's going to do it for episode 45
Yeah.
of the Let's Fight a Boss cast. Thank you for joining us today.
Bye.
Bye.
저기 멀리 갈림길의 끝에 뭐가 보일까 여기 놓인 걸림돌을 넘어가면 보일까 처음 닿는 거친 걸음마저 기분이 좋아 저기 멀리 부푼 꿈이 점점 가까워져가 뭐가 보일까 여기 놓인 걸림돌을 넘어가면 보일까 처음 닿는 거친 걸음마저 기분이 좋아 저기 멀리 부푼 꿈이 점점 가까워져가
I've been queuing for 94 minutes. Fuck this.